you now. Okay. Put the recording on. All right. So, yes, welcome everyone to Garvey Village. I'm repeating myself. Welcome to the Garvey Village's Unlock the Chains and Keep Well, where our guest presenters gives us the remedies and keys. Also, welcome to everybody who's listening on Black Culture Radio, which you're listening to on the Auntie Jean Zone. And you'll find us on all the W's, blackcultureradio.com. So that is all the W's, blackcultureradio.com. So welcome everybody listening on Black Culture Radio. And we're going to start off how we normally start off with saying thanks to the Ludamari, which is the Most High, the Divine One, the creator of all creatures great and small, the earth that we stand upon, the air that we breathe, the sunshine that gives us life, and the water that gives us life. We give thanks for all the Creator has provided for us. I also give thanks to our Ori, which is our head, which gives us the intuition to know what is right from wrong. And I'd like to call upon all of our good ancestors. The good ancestors got taken away from the shores of our homes and dotted all the way around the world. The atrocities and everything that they went through, I couldn't even imagine living through that time, even though we're supposed to keep coming back. So we probably was in that time. But the fact that those good ancestors had that willingness to survive and to keep on going through all troubles, thick and things, seeing lives of loved ones and people who they knew and people who they didn't know, lives being taken, seeing the same of lives who they know and lives who they didn't know, taking their own lives because they didn't want to go through any more of what they actually went through. So I say the good ancestors, because not all of our ancestors were good. We were betrayed by some of them, maybe even a lot of them. But I give thanks to the good ancestors for having that tenacity, for having that strength, to having that willingness and that drive to survive, because if it wasn't for them and their survival, a lot of us wouldn't be here today. So I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
I also say thank you to our leaders, our heroes, our sheroes, and our warriors. As you can see, my favorite is the Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, and I know that there is many, 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 many other leaders, heroes, and sheroes, names that we know, names we don't know, and names that we may never know, and some names we may have forgotten, but they all played a part in kicking down those doors, making those pathways for us to know that we can stand up, rise up, fight back, don't have to be subservient, don't have to listen and do everything as we are told. We can use our mind, our Ori, our intuition to know what's right from wrong and to strive. And these times that we're living in now, we need to call on those warrior spirits of those ancestors to get us through all of this that is going on, because there's a lot of wrongs going on, and we need to be strong enough to go through it and not bend, not be subservient to what's happening. So for all our leaders, heroes, sheroes, and warriors, I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
I also say thank you to my lineage. I say thank you to your lineage. I say thank you to the heads and shoulders of who we are, family line that we all stand upon. I say thank you to those ancestors that's there with us from the time that we're born right through to the time that we pass on to the ancestors. They're there with us through thick and thin, no matter what. Even though sometimes we feel that we're alone, rest assured we're not alone. They're there with us and they are guiding us. And I know sometimes they can be very cruel in their ways if we don't hear them, but they need to guide us, to put us on the right path. So it's for us to have an open mind, open up your Ori, and trust in our ancestors to know that they are putting you on the path that you need to be on. So don't forget also, our ancestors are also there to call on them, to ask them for help in times of need and in times that you want some guidance, or even just to say thank you. So when we do call upon our ancestors, also ask that their answers to our questions be as clear as water. And also let our minds be open to receive those messages, because they're going to come in many different forms and signs and ways that your mind has to be open to see and recognize them. So for all our ancestors, whose heads and shoulders we all stand upon, I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
And this is the opportunity I take to say thank you to my grandmother, Stefan Bailey, whom I've never met, but I know that she is there with me and she has been helping me and guiding me. And this is the time I'm calling on you, my grandmother, Stefan Bailey, to help me through what I am going through. So Stefan Bailey, I say thank you for what you've done for me so far, and thank you for what you're going to do for me. So Stefan Bailey, I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
I also say thank you to my grandfather, who, if it wasn't for my grandfather, I wouldn't know who my family was. So Hubert Stair, who we call Mr. Stair, I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
And I also say thank you to my mother, Iona Pinnock, and my stepfather, Ivan Pinnock, for if they weren't the people who they were, I wouldn't be the person who I am. So for Iona and Ivan Pinnock, I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
And this is where I open up the floor. You can open up your mics to say thank you or give homage to somebody who you know, who's passed. I'm also going to take this opportunity to say thank you to the life of our one and only hero behind the camera, Melanik Shabazz, who passed away passed on to the ancestors a couple of days ago. So Melanik is dear to our hearts. He's documented our life story so far, from Lover's Rock to the Pharaoh, something spiritual, to even acknowledging and documenting the New Cross Fire and also the Black People's Day of Action, which is documented in this film called Blood of Garan. So if you don't know about the New Cross Fire, it's 40 years ago since the tragedy. So if you look up Blood of Garan, that will give you an idea, if you don't know, or if you're too young to know what I'm talking about. And it's one of our moments in history that we need to remember and we should not forget. And thanks to our brother Melanik Shabazz, we've got that film Blood of Garan so that we won't forget. And it's there for people to coming up, our youngsters coming up, to see what some of the things that we actually went through, some of the things, the tragedies that's actually happened in our lives. And also at the time now, nothing still has actually happened. You know, there's 14 dead and still nothing's been said. So our brother Melanik Shabazz, I say thank you and Ashe.
Ashe.
Sorry, I cut in there. So you can open up your mics and say thank you to who you'd like to say thank you to.
I'd like to jump in and say thank you to my father's parents, my father, Luther Palmer, and his parents, Emmett Pearl Palmer, my grandmother, and his father, James Palmer, for their love and guidance. And my father raised me as a single parent here in the UK in the 60s until he returned to Jamaica. And I'd also like to say thank you to my mother's mother and father, Mary Brown and Thomas Brown.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, as usual, I have to talk about my brother who was killed at 18 years old by jealous men because he was so smart, and I still haven't got over it. I don't want to get over it. I want to remember him because I was only about 4 years old when he passed, and you know, he was just such a wonderful musician. He was everything. He was just a genius at what he did. However, he's gone. His human body is gone, but his spirit is still with us. My wonderful father, the pioneer, who worked 7 days a week, doing farm working on more than one occasion and getting 3.5 days pay. I couldn't say anything about it because the first person who said something about it was taken out to the cane fields and I never saw him again. Wow. So that was kind of warning. You shut up, take what you get, and that's it. And, you know, he spent some time away from us, but it wasn't because of any other reason more than he's the pioneer. And in those days, the man's the head of the family sort of thing, although my mom sewed and all the rest of it and kept the shop and all of this. I want to give great credit to my mom. My small little mom, I've taken her shape, body, bones, everything. And she taught me so much about spirituality since I was a child that right now, when I hear some people talk about spirituality, I'm saying, I wonder if they really, really have somebody who had told them all about it, or they just sort of having a go. But it's not to criticize anybody because nobody knows it all. But just want to give credit to my family who passed. And recently, my sister-in-law's younger sister, who unfortunately died a week and a half ago, Margaret. So to Margaret and to all my family, Ashe.
Ashe. Could you like to say your brother's name, your father's name, and your mother's name?
Donald Walters is my brother.
Ashe.
Ashe. To my father, George Walters, Ashe. And to my dear, sweet mother, Gladys Eugenie Walters, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you. Anybody else? I think we've got people are shy in the house today. Okay. All right. I was looking to see if Galactic Clyde was going to grace our screens because he's actually down down at Ruskin's Park, sending out healing vibrations to our very own sister Sasha Johnson, who is improving. She's out of the ICU, and you know, so people have gone down there to, as I said, send out some healing vibrations to her. So I was actually hoping that Galactic Clyde would have been here already to give us a sneak preview. But as he is not, without any further ado, we shall move on to our very own Dr. Lyndon Walters. So for those who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows, but those who don't know, please let everybody know who Dr. Lyndon Walters is and what you've got in store for us today. So I say welcome, and the screen is now yours.
Thank you. I can't see my guest though, but when I do announce her, could I see her? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, greetings everybody and welcome to this edition of the Garvey Village. I just want to say that I had said from last month that I would change the format of what I'm doing. I haven't changed the topic though, but the topic is always going to be the Black experience. It's an extensive research, so everything I do is the Black experience. Today we start a new look at how we want to help you to see Black experience from a different angle. And so I found a young queen whom I know very well, and she is brave enough to come onto this platform for me to interview her. So think of it as a little talk show via interview, okay? And I'll be sending out all of these questions. I've had to destroy some because there were too many. So warning. So can we all welcome Queen Jasmine Clymont?
Hi, welcome. Welcome, Jasmine, welcome.
Welcome,
Hi,
Jasmine.
everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hi. So you can breathe, you know, you can breathe, you can breathe.
I can't see her, I can't see her.
You can't see her?
No.
You might have to swipe the screen, Lyndon.
I can see her now. Hi, Jasmine.
Okay.
How are you, Queen Jasmine? Thank you for turning up. Ah, wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
I'm good, you know. I'm always good.
Yeah, and family?
They're blessed.
Are they listening to the program?
And no, I've had to come out because there would have been too much noise in the background for you.
So where are you now?
I'm in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Garvey Village. This is it. As you can hear, we are very spiritual in what we do. And just want to welcome you. Well, I'm sure you're very prepared. And I just want to go ahead. Say what you're saying.
No, I don't know about prepared, but you know, you know, I love our conversations, Lyndon. So I trust how, you know, however this is going to be, however it's going to go, I trust the direction it will go, and hope that it will bring some light or some inspiration or some, you know, something to somebody in this call today.
Thank you so much. You see, this is what I like about you, altruistic, you know, selfless. I admire so many things about you, you know, as a young queen. And I know you have a big family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to mention that, you know, you're free to say no or whatever.
Yeah. I'm an open book, Lyndon. I'm fine. I have nothing to hide.
Okay,
you know?
So can you introduce yourself and say who you are and your families? Because it's up to you to mention that.
Yes, so my name is Jasmine. I go by the name of Jasmine Naomi. I am a mother of 5 children. My eldest is 17. And he's a boy. And then I have 4 girls, age 13, 12, 10, and 4. I'm very busy, as you can imagine. You know, last year I lost my job due to the pandemic, and had to figure out a way in which, you know, I was going to create a different income for myself, because I didn't want to go in the universe of credit or just be back in that benefit system. I don't know, from the day I got pregnant with my first son, I didn't want to just become a statistic. And I just felt like I had something to prove, because I had him very young. And I just felt like I've always had something to prove. So whatever situation that comes at me, whether I've lost a job, I lose my house, you know, I'm always fighting and finding a way through it. So in losing my job, I look for ways in which I can create something new. So I created a business where I offer support and help to other business owners through using my administration skills. And I also started coaching people as well. So I am a coach as well. I've learned so much from Lyndon from when I first met him in 2009. He really helped me get through something I didn't even know that I had at the time, but I didn't identify that I was going through postnatal depression after I had my 3rd child. And you know, if we're speaking to Lyndon, I realized, you know, because this isn't normal. He really got me through it. And ever since then, he's remained like the father figure in my life, and is always on hand. And, you know, if I need to call or we speak, if we're speaking for hours and I drop asleep on the phone because it's gone too long, you know, yeah. So I give thanks for Lyndon and the life, and for always, you know, being passionate about the work that he does, and also just extending his heart to me and my family and our well-being.
Thank you so much for saying that. You didn't have to say that, but I know you are a genuine person. And I think that, you know, it's really good that you can speak with me today and have this interview, because I really want to, now you've said whom you are currently, I want to take you back in the past. So I've put past, present, and future. That's how I've schemed it. Mm-hmm. And for me, I know you've shared so much with me. I feel like I've known you since you were born, you know, because you haven't hidden anything. You know, You've been quite candid. You say how you feel. That's it. And we still go along. And you know, I'm still available. I'm still available. I'll always be available, because it's my purpose and mission. I look forward to somebody saying something to me. And I'll just give you this. A woman some 9 years ago or so wanted me, well, she didn't really want me to work with her, but her husband, whom I'd worked with, he kind of forced her to come and speak with me. And I could see that she wasn't ready, but she was like putting on her face, you know. And in the end, I said to her, look, let's be honest with each other, right? I haven't got the energy to waste, because there's lots more people, yeah? And people who know me know I only get about 4 hours sleep, if I'm lucky, every day for the last 40 years. So I don't do it because I want to punish myself. I do it because I love people. You know, I really and truly love people, especially children, and you know that.
Yeah.
So what happened is she somehow came out of the past and phoned me and said, she said, I need some help. And I can't say some of the things, but I know she just told me that she's now so happy. And I think you'll remember this when I said things you haven't let go of. Yeah. I said, when I show you how easy it is, you're going to laugh. And I know you kind of thought, this man must be crazy, you know, because what I'm holding on to really hurts. But tell everybody that you did laugh. You did laugh. You did laugh. And thank you for believing in me. Thank you for believing in the work I do, you know. And I must say, you're a wonderful partner. And I'll say publicly, he's a wonderful guy. I think I might be interviewing him next month. So, you know, I want to get him sort of close to where you are, so that the people can see that for young folks, for young adults, you I don't even think you know how much you've all done. You know, both of you, you've done some magic things. And I'm so proud of you all. And look at Linda, you know, Linda is now a coach as well. In fact, I've got 7 of you who decided to become a coach. And so I'm just ecstatic. And there's more shaping up, you know. So I'm happy, because I've always said to each of you, I'm teaching you how to become your own coach. Mm-hmm. And I see that you have, you know, because of you know what to do when you're not sure, or you just want to ask, you can just pick up the phone, and there we are. All right, but this is not about me, so I'm going to shut up about me and go into your business now, okay? So how far back do you want to go into the past is my first question to you. Because we want to give a great picture of, for me, my vision is young adolescents, young adult to now. That's how I've seen it, but I don't know where you want to go. How far back do you want to go?
I mean, this is about the Black experience.
Yeah.
And I think starting off at childhood then would be relevant. I won't spend too long in it, but just to give an overview of what my childhood was like. And where I've come from and where I am now.
Thank you. And you see what I mean about you being selfless? You realize that the Black experience is gonna be there for everybody from which we can all learn. Even you're gonna learn even more within this interview, the way I've set it up. So thank you for saying that. Did you want to say some more about that?
Yeah, I just want to say as well, like, as I might mention things and talk about things, like everything that's happened or all the things that I have experienced, and the things I felt wronged by and I felt victimized, as a victim by as a child as we go through. And I may have pointed at the blame to other people, but I genuinely love everybody and everyone that I've, come through from a child up into an adult. I've come to realize many, many things about us, especially as young Black adults, Black mothers, about the generations, how my mom's generation were raised, how my grandmothers were, so there is really no judgment about choices that were made, that I felt I was wronged by, but yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Well, you're free to just speak about your early years, what you want to share. Just go ahead.
Okay. My early years, I remember, I can't remember, let's go back as young as 4. My earliest memory that I can think of was my dad and my mum splitting up. I was a bit too young to kind of grasp the situation. I just remember my mum saying, well, who is she then? It's just a picture, it's just like a memory that comes up in my mind. And when I look back at it now, I think, oh, that's, they were breaking up then. And my father left. He was still in my life pretty much, until I was 15. But my experience, I was mostly, raised by my mum. I saw my mum have to do everything, take on the financial burdens. I don't say burden, financial responsibility. Financial responsibility for us. I'm one of 3. So I have an older brother and a younger brother. And, my childhood was good. Overall, when I look at the big picture, I loved playing outside, went on trips and things like that. My mum made sure that, we had what we had. She did what she had to do to make sure that we had. However, as I got older, my older brother got sent to Jamaica to go to school. He came back and was very what they coined the term as yardie. They used to call him Yardie, whatever his name was. He got quite a reputation for himself in the area that we grew up in. Lots of things started, going on in my family. The men that my mum was involved with, it felt like, even though I had a great childhood, it was just always some type of drama going on at my house. Always, from police kicking down the doors to having petrol bombs thrown through my window. It was just always some type of drama. I didn't feel like I had any peace as a child. And so when I used to go to my dad's house, when I used to go to weekend, it was just a completely different environment. My dad was a teacher. He became deputy head. He is now a head teacher at a school and a magistrate. And I just felt like going to my dad was my safe haven. it was just my time away from all the drama. But again, overall, I had a good childhood. We had to move several times after our house got petrol bombed, so I felt like a traveller at times. Moving from house to house to house to house to house, never fully settled. And later on in my adult years, I realized the effect of that, you know, moving and not feeling settled, how that can affect you in other areas of your life.
Yeah.
I'll come on to that as I get to my adulthood. Yeah, so going through, you know, growing up, I felt like my experience as a child was the norm. It felt like the norm because there were many other children that would have similar experiences to me.
Yeah.
It's only when I got to college that I realized that, no, even in secondary school, there were a few similar children to me, but not Black children. You know, some Black children, there probably one or two that were not of that background, that, you know, didn't have rough or didn't know about drugs and all of these type of things in the streets. That I knew so much by that age. By the time I was 15, I was clued up on everything. When I left school, and at the age of 15, okay, so yeah, roughly, I left school, went to college, and it was there I started to like open my eyes and started to meet other people and realize that, wow, like you don't have this, you didn't know about this, or you didn't experience this. And I felt like, yeah, you know, you can travel further than, you know, your area that you live in. You can actually fly and catch a plane and go places. Even though I had traveled as a child, but nothing it didn't feel drama. I'd go to some of my friends' house and it was nice and it was calm and it was relaxed. It just felt like going to my dad's. And there I started to just notice things that I didn't want in my life, things I didn't want to be around. So I started changing my friends, just the people, just the conversations. But that also kind of built a rift between me and my mum. I was cool, never disrespectful for my mum ever. You know, I never brought my mum any problems as a child. But I started to be resentful because of things that had happened when I started comparing my life to other people's whose life wasn't so in that, and the things that were brought to our house and so many things. So I kind of held that, you know, I would hold those things against her. And then my dad, he decided that he wasn't going to be in my life anymore. I have a younger brother. We both share the same dad. And he decided, you know, when he got married, he would move away without even telling me. Yeah, he just cut us off with no explanation, nothing. And I was very, very close with my dad. I was the daddy's girl, and he made the decision to just go away. I didn't realize at the time, but when looking back at it now, that really broke my heart. You know, it's the first man I ever loved, and to break my heart like that, you know, with no explanation. And how I found out was I was actually going to go to his house one day after college. I was on the bus, but something told me, no, go another day. And I called him and I said, I was going to go to your house. I'm going to come and see you today. And he says, oh, we've moved.
Wow.
So I could have actually got off the bus and knocked that door, and it would have been a stranger knocking that door. And he said he's moved to Northampton. So my relationship with my dad kind of ended there when he decided to, you know, come out my life. I felt kind of lost, like I wasn't that close to my mum. I didn't really have I just didn't feel like I had anybody. And then I met the father of my children. And yeah, we kind of connected. like we were both looking for something. We were both lost. We had this piece that, you know, we were lost, but we found it in each other and we really connected. But it moved pretty fast. I became pregnant at 18. Something I never envisioned for myself. Never. I wasn't someone like who was really into boys. I never slept around. Like, it wasn't like that at all. So becoming pregnant was like the biggest shock of my life. But I felt like I was grown already. I'd been through so much by that age. I felt like I was grown. So I thought, you know what, whatever it is, I'll handle it. Just come to it. Then learning, like, after I had my son, I love being a mum. Up to this day, I love being a mum. I felt
You're a wonderful mum. You're a wonderful mum. Nobody can tell me any different. Otherwise, Lyndon, you would see a different Lyndon. You know what I'm saying? If they ever tried to say something different, I would lose my cool. Could I pause you there for just 1 second?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving us the background, you know, real background. This is, if I had £1 million, I couldn't pay for somebody to come and bare their soul like you're doing, you know, and I trust that everybody else that I'm going to be, I mean, everybody's got their choices, you know. I'm never going to hold somebody and say, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's not me. To me, you have to feel free, like you're just doing. And so, in a way, you're setting a sort of modus operandi, you know, right now, because you are so honest and so forthcoming with the information. You know, it's good to know from my point of view, and I'm sure from all the people involved here, that we need a platform. We need a platform to get things off our chest, you know, because people have been through things that as a coach I know, and I'm like, wow, when can they say this? Where is there a place that they can go? Who do they go to? I've seen it, I've felt it, I've lived it. And, you know, people keep things in and don't realize that we're damaging the rest of our body, right? We're doing it, but we don't know, because they call it stress. That's just the general terms. But let me explain. Stress is into two parts. That's just a common name for it, but it's into a couple of parts. There is distress, which is what people go through, trauma, yeah? And there is eustress, which is spelled EU stress, which is happy stress, if you like. Going to the gym, working out. You're stressing your body out. But don't you feel good, you know, especially when you allow your body to recover, yeah? So I need people to see that there are two types of stress. So don't just say stress and then go, not that again, you know. Distress is like, what do you call those, antique furniture? You ever seen antique furniture?
Yeah.
Very distressed, you know, and it's purposely distressed to look the way it is. So imagine that's the inside of your body, the inside of your brain. Oh, your brain's been battered so many times that it looks like a piece of antique furniture. So this is why you gotta have people like myself, and there are many coaches out there now. My wonderful, I feel so good that there's so many people, but we'll never be enough because, you know, irrelevant to the population. So for me, sometimes people say, oh, Lynn, you know, you do so much and stuff. For me, I don't see it as work. I don't see it as work, because wonderful individuals like yourself and your partner, right? I can say to people, listen, I'm challenged by these folks. I'm actually challenged. And I look forward to seeing, you know, my coaching is about just individuals. Yeah, it's uniquely you, right? And if you had a twin, maybe a Siamese twin sharing, you know, joined by the head, sharing the same brain, you'd still be different. You know, you'd still be different. There's been a woman, two women, I think they were from Iran, and they were joined at the head, sharing the same brain. And they grew up until they were about 42, I think they were. And then, of course, big head America says, yeah, come on, let me cut you in half. And, you know, you go that side, you go that side. But unfortunately, they didn't survive the operation. Yeah. One wanted to be a corporate lawyer, and the other one wanted to be a social worker. Now, beat that. Yeah. So when I see things like that, that's how comes I've designed my coaching in regards to uniqueness. So even if I gave the same tools to both sisters, it wouldn't be in the same proportion or probably necessary to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah? So this is what I'm saying. I'm thanking you and everyone that happened to be with me, because, you know, I could have gone to the Coaching Federation and all of this stuff, but that's another story. Let's get back to you. I've written down some questions here, and we've talked about how far back you want to go, and you've transcended that, and you've gone into your teenage years. So let's go up to, that's taking us up to about 18 years old, yeah?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So you know the acronym SWOT? SWOT?
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
And threats, right. So I'm going to be asking you now to differentiate between pubescent age, adolescence, and so when you were younger. Now that you're older, can you tell me what your strengths were then as a child, pre-pubescent?
I believe one of the strengths, or one of the things that comes up quite prevalent for me is my resilience. I believe that got me through a lot of things. Going forward, not taking knockbacks. I was very resilient. That was one of my strengths as a child. One of my strengths that I still think, or I still believe that I hold now, that I developed as a child, was the ability to see through people, see through their words and actions. So, understanding what they're saying is not what they're actually saying. I'm picking up on having that awareness, of what's going on, whether it be, I might be in danger right now, or this is a good place to be. I was very in tune. I had that intuition from very early to know who and who not to be around. That was one of my strengths.
Wow. At that young age, fantastic. Yeah. And you see, it's wonderful to look back now that you're an adult, and see that this young child had exactly what you just said. Yeah. So congratulations for that, because as you see me writing it down quickly, because these are points, it's no good just asking you this and asking that. I really and truly want to know the framework of your mind and all of this sort of stuff. So thank you for that. How about weaknesses? What weaknesses do you think you had, pre-pubescent?
I would say I wouldn't speak up. I felt like I didn't have a voice. So I wouldn't say or ask for what I want, because most of the time I felt you know, it was going to offend somebody else, or it would be at the detriment of somebody else. Very much a people pleaser. So I just want to do what's right because, you know, it will please other people. And that I carried that for years. But as a child, I recognized that I used to just try and do people please all the time. And I wouldn't say exactly what was on my mind. And that was one of my weaknesses.
Wow. Can I, whilst this is fresh in our minds, ask you about people pleasing? What made you feel that you had to become a people pleaser? What drove you to that?
To keep the peace. To keep the peace between people. To keep people happy. Like I said, it just felt like there's lots of drama. And if I could just do what was right, I wouldn't be adding to that drama. You know, just, It benefited me in certain ways. You know, I did well in school. But also the disadvantage that I was doing things I just wasn't happy to do. So yeah, that was the other side of it.
Okay. How about threats? What threats do you think you had?
I felt as a child, I felt like my peace was threatened. Very much by people and the police.
Those door-breaking police. Wow. And did you suffer from a kind of fear? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but was it fear?
I was fearful, very fearful, but I never showed it. I think my resilience overshadowed that. So I wouldn't show it, but it did transcend into different areas. So like, I'm a very creative person. I like to do performing arts and stuff as a child. But I didn't ever want to kind of show when I could be really great. So I could, you know, audition for something and then I would like go into a shell because I became quite scared of, you know, part of my mindset, this is my mindset as a child. You know, if I got this part and the light is shining on me, as opposed as, you know, people know who I am, they're going to know about my family, they're going to know about everybody else. So I can't let people know, because, you know, as a child, you're told to be quiet. You're told, don't tell this to people, don't tell the school what happened, you know, this might happen if you do this. So it was very much hush hush. So I didn't feel like I could be who I really wanted to be, or, you know, as a child. And so it was just a fear of being myself, really.
Fear of being yourself. Wow. Okay. And of course, the O now, opportunities. What opportunities did you see that you had? Whether you took them or not doesn't matter at the moment.
I saw education as an opportunity. I felt that I knew what I had this idea that, you know, if I do well in school, I get the good grades, I can get a good job, and then, you know, I can help out more in the house. Certain family members won't have to do what they're doing. You know, I could take care of that. They wouldn't have to, you know, find other means to support us or support the family. So that was my opportunity. And dance, you know, if I became a great dancer, I could go and do shows and travel the world. with my acting as well. Yeah, I saw dance, acting, performing as an opportunity to just get out.
So you were pretty much a child who, from what I'm seeing here in your answers, you know, you recognized these 4 areas of your living, right?
Now, yeah.
Yeah, this is fantastic because many people don't know that children are very sort of worthy of praise, if you like, yeah? If they get the opportunity to say, you know, to speak up, yeah? And so for me, I learned that a long time ago back in Jamaica. And so that's what makes me love young folks. And 96% of what I know, I learned from young folks, from children and young adults like yourselves. It's amazing because you got all of these, what I call capabilities. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know because, as you say, through fear, you know, you may not want to show up, you know. I went through that because I was a very bright child. I was a Mensa student and blah, blah, blah. And a big woman tried to kill me, tried to poison me. You know, it was crazy. And when I think about it now, I'm saying that woman needed something, you know, sorted out in her brain. But thank you for that. That is really, really good. Can I just turn on the light? It's getting a little bit dark. So, just switch on the light. Right, there we go. There be light, and there was light. There you are. Now that's better. Yeah, it was getting a little bit sort of dark, and I'm thinking I'm struggling to read my own handwriting. Okay, so we've gone through that. I'm going to ask you about strengths, weaknesses, and threats again during your teenage years, and then obviously as a young adult, right? But we'll come around to that. Let me see what else I've written here. Okay, so what overall have you learned about you? Just going back to the younger days and all of these things that you already knew. What did you actually learn?
I learned that despite, you know, what we go through as young Black children, where stories like mine are the norm, despite what we go through, that we have everything inside us. We have, like you say, the capabilities to change our stories and change the narrative. We don't necessarily have to follow the path that has been laid out before us by those who may lead us onto those paths, you know, the adults that are looking after us and that are doing things that you don't believe that are wrong. I love everybody. But things that we start to normalize as normal, and then you get old and you realize it's not normal, you know? It's not normal to accept, you know, oh, somebody, like, just to hear somebody died, oh, it's just another person that died, it's another person that just got shot, it's another person got stabbed. It becomes normal. We start to normalize things like violence. We start to normalize things like drugs in the community. We start to normalize these things and develop a kind of Stockholm syndrome to those that are doing these things in the community and not really speaking out and telling them they shouldn't be doing it. Because most of them people are family and we love them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So because we love them, you know, it's not really we love them because we know it's the action that they may do that might be detrimental to the community. It's the action. It's not them.
Right,
so
right.
People can separate the action from the person. We do it all the time, but we choose not to sometimes. And when everybody gets if everybody hears the story and stuff, like, as Black people, we develop sympathy for our people that we know have been gone to prison for doing certain things, because we know it's not them. We know the action is not them. So just learning as a child, going through that process, it's understanding and then, as you've taught me through so many conversations, that, we are not our behaviors, and we can definitely change the narrative. We don't have to be what we are stereotypically labeled to be.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I couldn't have asked for a better answer, because this is an in-depth sort of answer, and of course we are learning. I hear people talk about learned behavior. Yes, it's a very common term, but as I keep saying, every behavior is learned. So yes, people don't get it, that despite the fact we sort of turn our eyes away because we don't want to be involved, that's number one. And number two, we think it's disgusting, but maybe we can't say anything. Or maybe we just say, let them be who they want to be. That's fine. But you see, it's like this dancehall thing that's happening now. I'm totally against it, because they're not thinking of little children who are watching them and copying them. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They don't have any thought for the children.
But you don't realize that even as young adults, it's not, I love Jamaican culture, right? I love my culture. Yeah. I love it. I love the dance and everything. I believe that, just not Jamaican, Caribbean, we are so talented.
Yes.
But I think, like you said, I believe when you have children, I've had children myself now, and there's just certain things I think that I was allowed to see as a child. It's not literally, I could watch the movie Shutters. I could watch The Harder They Come as a young child, as a very young child. And I used to enjoy the movies. But now when I'm thinking about it, all it was doing is just adding to the normalization of a certain act, certain things that were carrying on.
Yeah.
And it's only when I've had my children, you have children, you just want to protect them. And I'm like, I just want to protect them, not mollycoddle them, not make them oblivious to what is going on in the world. But yes, there are certain things, my children cannot, they don't have social media. I don't want to see them doing all these TikTok dancing. I don't want to, they don't know, they might listen to songs. If you put a picture of who the artist is and tell, who is that? I don't know. Good. Right. Those are not idols. These are people you don't need to think. But in our community, it was just the norm. And I don't judge, our
none
parents.
of us are judging, but we can say how we feel. I don't judge our parents
for enlightening us showing us that those experiences.
Yeah.
But I do think it was very young. It's too young for certain children to do. And when I see it now, when I see young children as young as 7, 5 even, winding up themselves, doing splits and stuff I just think, whoa. Crazy. I just think, whoa.
Somebody sent me a video with a little baby of about 2 or 3 years old. I think it was more 2 than 3, wearing Pampers. And that baby was twerking. And they think it's funny. They think it's funny. I was mad. Because what is that? When that child grows up, that child might be more vulnerable than a child who was not doing that at that age. So I lift my hat off to you as a really wonderful mom. You young, but you seem to have much more experienced sort of philosophy, some philosophies that deals with these experiences in a way that it belies your age, really. Because, you know, I know you are not a baby anymore. You know, you're not a teenage, you know, what they call teenager, adolescent anymore. You're a full woman. You're a full queen. But
yeah.
I love the fact that you've got standards.
I had to learn. I had to really learn, and like it took time for me to actually go through, and also being challenged by their father when he would challenge me in certain things that I wouldn't, and I'd be like, well, no, it's all right, but really actually listening and understanding, okay, maybe it's not. So having a different voice with you, and especially if you respect the father of your children, which I believe, you know, the minute you decide to lay down with somebody and make children with them, there should be that respect, whether you end up together or not. You know, their opinion matters. So when when I'm hearing certain things, I may not like it in the beginning when I'm receiving it. I might have an attitude in the beginning when in my younger days, because I'm very, you know, kind of fiery. But I've learned to take it in and actually listen and actually vision, okay, like, what do I want for my children? What do I want them to be? How would I want to see them? If they turn out this way, could I really say that, you know, it wasn't because of the influences that I allowed them to see? You know, all of those things.
All right. We're a bit restricted with time, but we can still do some more. Okay? All right. We can still do some more. So I've written too many questions, obviously, but that's me. I'm always over preparing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So who were you inspired by as an adolescent, if anyone? Was it a family member? Was it a friend? Who was it?
I don't know about inspired. So when I was young, I did like, there was one particular singer that I used to, I don't know, I just used to like her so very much. But when it came to just family and just the way she is, it was my nan, my grandma, my mum's mum.
Your nan, great. Yeah. Great to hear that, by the way. Great to hear that. That's magic for me. When it is.
And, you know, even she doesn't believe, you know, she's 81 now. She doesn't believe that, you know, she's done much anything, but I was always inspired by my nan's generosity, her, how she moved, because she doesn't live in London, she lives in the country. And we would go up there for sometimes 4 weeks at a time, me and my younger brother, and just how she just operated as a house, you know, kind of show me a different way to live in, like structure in the house. Like, you know, we wouldn't be eating our dinner at 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, like we having dinner at 4 o'clock.
That's right.
You know, it was just, you know, and she still has those same very standards today. Like, my nan is, she's my shiro.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so we got to 18, yeah? So we're gonna like fast track from 18 to where you are now.
Okay.
If that's okay with you. And I just want to know, when you were 18 and you were pregnant, what strategies did you have to implement in order to progress?
To be honest, Lyndon, I had none. I don't believe I even gave it a thought. I just thought, I'm pregnant, I give birth, and I take each day as it comes. You know, I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue what motherhood would be. I had an idea. I looked after babies all the time. I was babysitting all the time. You know, I took responsibility for my younger brother. You know, he's 5 years younger than me. When my mum would be at work and after school, we'd be in the house alone a lot of the time. So I'd do the dinner, everything from a young age. And I didn't know. I have no plan. Had no plan. I just thought, okay.
All right. That's all right. It's just a question. I just needed to know that. And then you can take us now from 18 straight to where you are now.
Okay, so one thing about me, I'm always determined. So when I had my son, I realized
that's a strength, isn't it? So let me put that down as well. Sorry, go ahead.
When I had my son, I realized that, you know, the benefits money is not going to be enough for the life that I want to provide for him. So I have to find a job. And no matter where I'm at in life, I I seem to find work, but I would never settle in work. So I'd move from this job, and I would move from this profession to want to be in another profession. So I tell you everything I've been from 18 up until now. So I've been a play worker, I've been a teaching assistant, I've been a hairdresser, I've been a makeup artist, I've been a dance teacher, I've been a finance assistant, I've been an administrative assistant, I've been a recruitment consultant, I've been a HR assistant. You know, never sticking to one thing.
Yeah.
Within those years, and that's what, like from 18, that's 18 years, right? So and I attributed that, like, why can I not just, you know, why do I have to keep on moving? I get bored quite quick. And I realized that, you know, when I was younger, we moved so many times, so it was never, we weren't really settled. I've moved house about 10 times.
Wow.
10, 11 times.
Look at that.
And it just made me feel like, yeah, I can't. So I need to kind of, what do I need to do to kind of focus? So I decided to go to university and study for a degree in business administration. I think I was 28 or 29. I cannot even remember. It's 2012. By 2012, I had 4 children by that time. So this was going to be, you know, a major task for me to really study at uni and finish while looking after 4 children. I'm very grateful for my support network, my mum, my children's, their other grandmother, you know, very much so helpful. I'll never forget everybody that helped me during those times, even if it was little or small, if it was watching the children for an hour. But I managed to finish that. But I got to the last, like the year I was supposed to, my second year, my cousin passed. He was taken away, and that affected me. And I was going to quit university at that point. I just couldn't go on. Instead, I took a year out and decided to, you know, I'm resilient enough, I can do this. I did that, and then I got pregnant again in my final year. Wasn't a plan at all. It had been almost 5 years, and I planned, like, you know, after 4th child, I wasn't having any more. I even set up an appointment. I'm being very open. I set up an appointment to go and have an abortion because I was determined that having another child was not going to stop me from, you know, building up my career and everything. I got to the appointment. I went into the consultation room, and as I was leaving the room after I spoke to the nurse, I was walking out and I heard a voice saying, "You don't need to do this." And I thought it was the nurse. So I turned around and I said, "What did you say?" She goes, "I didn't say anything, but I heard the voice loud and clear."
Wow.
And so I walked out. My friend who dropped me, I said, "You know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to have her." That's what it is. I was in my last year of uni, and I remember taking my last exam 7 days before she was due. So a week before she was due. It's like this, around this time, actually, because her birthday is next week on the 7th. And I took my last exam, and yeah, 7 days later, I gave birth.
Wow.
And that was for me, that is one of the things that I continue to use. So if I'm ever feeling like I cannot do anything, or if I ever feel like I don't know if I can do this, that's my anchor. That's something I go back to.
Very good. Like, very good.
You persevered and you went through and you was able to do this. Like, come on. But, you know, sometimes we try to be strong women. Well, we are strong women, but sometimes I can be so strong to my detriment. like so stubborn to get to it.
Thank you so much for bearing your soul on Lyndon's talk show via an interview. I want to finish on the high.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to say to everyone here, I'm glad you mentioned about the uni, and I'm glad you actually got to this stage, because now we can say, what was your result of determination, you know, that you went to take the exam like 7 days before your child was born? I mean, it takes a lot.
Mm.
I don't have time to put all the words in, but it takes something special. Your inner voice of influence, you were listening to it. Congratulations. So now tell them what your result was. How did you get on at uni? What did you, when you passed? What was your grade?
I achieved a second class honours, which wasn't what I was going for, but I didn't beat myself up for it, because for me that was a big achievement. That there was so much that, you know, I know that I could have done better, but pregnancy, honestly, at times it was tough. And for me to get the second class honours, I was elated. And so happy.
Jasmine Clymont, thank you so much. I'm indebted to you. This is absolutely brilliant. And I trust that all the other people listening are very much grateful for your, I wouldn't call it bravery, I just call it like you're just so down to earth. You want to share your experiences with us. And I'd just like to know from a couple of them, see how much time we've got. Maybe they can ask a couple of questions before my time is up. And I trust you don't mind just answering them as briefly as you can in case there's more than one person. Would you mind that very much? I thank you anyway, first of all, before we go. People, this young lady has told you exactly as it is. This is what the Black experience is all about. And she managed to come forward, sitting here, actually going through some very traumatic things in her life, but she didn't let it faze her. And she, in the end, got the prize she wanted, apart from her children, obviously. The prize she wanted, which was to pass her exams. And she got second class honors. Let me tell you something, a lot of people would love that. Yeah? You can't snare at it, as you say. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations, and I'm going to give you a big clap.
Yeah.
For just being who you are. You are a wonderful, wonderful.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you've got any quick questions, please make it as short as possible, and Jasmine will answer you accordingly.
We're all right for the moment because Pi Ratio hasn't entered the house yet. So,
okay, that's
Jasmine,
fine.
I want to say thank you so much. You are a total inspiration to everybody who, you know, who's coming up, who wants to do something and think that, you know, their life is actually stopping them like children. And you've proven that it didn't stop you, you know, and even your inner voice or the ancestors, you know, spoke to you out loud, which they had to, you know, that you thought it was somebody else speaking, you know, because maybe there was whispering to you and you didn't hear. So they had to shout it to you. And it's a good job you did here. And you just said you've used that and you've taken it as an example to, you know, other feats or other hurdles in your life to say, well, I went through that with this and I had all of that to do and I had the other 4 children. So, you know, when you think about it, this is nothing, you know, so well done to you. Well done to you. Absolute inspiration. And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me as well.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
My gift to you, Jasmine. Jasmine?
She's listening. Yes. She's waiting.
I can't see you. I need to see you. I want to see your face.
I'm here. I'm here.
Now, the last time I was at your home and I said to you that you can construct your future. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I want you to think about it.
Yeah.
Because it can be done.
I have, you know what, I have been yesterday, I was actually sitting down and really detailing, but getting really detailed and specific about it. Yeah. So
I want you to know that it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
I started a 21-day awakening course yesterday, and I'm telling you, I went to the doctor today to pick up my prescription, and I said to her, listen, I want you to put your stethoscope on my heart and see what you can find. She said, oh my God, it's like you got a brand new heart. I said, well, you know what? I just know that would happen because the amount of vibration I felt is brewing up. But you see, your body and mind actually is marinated with information. Yes. It takes 21 days to do it.
I just did a fast. This is my last day of the fast actually today, day 8. I did a 13-day fast in March, but this fast has been very awakening as well, and I've been spoken to, and I think even where I felt like I've not been moving, I feel so much lighter, by the way.
Well, you would. That's another thing I liked with you. You were looking at the food side of things from a good long time ago, and we're teaching our children, so we got to show them now so that they can learn from us.
My son started, he saw me, and my son said, I'm gonna fast. And
wow.
He started this, he's on day 3 today.
Listen, I need to ask you one more little tiny detail. As Queen Jean says, we've got a little bit more time. So now I'll throw this at you. I want you to tell these people what your son did at uni.
At uni?
They used to go to uni at the school.
Oh, yes. So, he used to go.
Can you please expand on that? Let them hear.
Oh, yeah, because he was chosen from his secondary school to be part of this brighter something club. I can't remember the name of it now. And he would have lessons or lecturers from uni, and they would kind of teach. My daughter's actually has gone through that now, Crosaya. She's gone through the same thing. Teach them how to write essays and how to approach topics and how to research. They've done essays. Crosaya's one has come back a few weeks ago. She got a first in her essay.
Whoa, yes.
Wow. How old is she?
Yeah, she's 13.
Wow.
And the same for my son when he was that age.
He was 13 too.
Yeah, he was at that. So he kind of set the precedence in that school, because now every teacher, they still talk about him in that school. And when I'm on parents' evening, there's one particular teacher that's been there for all these years, and he would always say, he's taught all 3 of my children that are now in secondary school, and he would say, you've got bright, clever children. So, I joke with my 10-year-old, and I say to her, look, you better fix up, She's bright. She's very bright herself. But I said, when you go to school now, like the teacher going to be expecting, you can't damage the Travis name now. Keep it up.
But look who she's got as parents. She got 2 geniuses as parents. Yeah. I mean, let's be fair. You're a genius.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how, because I don't know, as a parent, I don't know if there's, obviously there will be other parents on this live right now, but there's this guilt sometimes that we carry as parents, that we're not doing the best that we can for our children, or we know that we're in a situation. My current living situation at the moment right now, I'm not where I want to be, and sometimes I feel like I'm not providing the environment for them to flourish, not providing them the right tools and resources. And then I go to put, and they're just getting top marks every time, and I'm just like, how are they doing it? How are they doing it?
It's the DNA. I mean, they've got DNA from two geniuses. What do you expect?
I know. But I believe that sometimes we just be less hard on ourselves as parents. I think if we set the precedents and, you know, put in the structure and the routine, you know, I take this quote from the Bible, you know, train a child as you want him to go, and, you know, when he goes older, he won't depart from it. Yeah. That is exactly the truth, because I know I can trust my children to the extent I let my son at one time when he was younger go to a sleepover. And when I went to pick him up, the mum said to me, I don't know what it is about your son, but I'm like, he would not play that computer game. I let my sons play computer games that are over 18. He wouldn't play the computer game. He went and read a book because he said my mum wouldn't allow me to play that game. So I'm not going to play it.
Wow, look at that. Be the example, right? Yeah. Be the example. Yeah. I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have been none the wiser if he played the game. You know, so it's that type of thing that we instill in our children. So you do have to, don't worry about what we can do for them. Just focus on, you know, the resources. Use what we have. Yeah. But that's wonderful again, you see. That's what I'm saying. Children will tell parents, I don't want it to be my friend. I want it to be my parent. And that's what you need us to be. That's what they need us to be. Master's done. You know, you treat your children right. You speak with them. You see what I love? When I listen to you talking to your children, I'm thinking, this sounds like my mom. You know, that's how my mom used to speak to me. She never, ever even raised her voice once.
And that's learning, Lyndon. That's learning from your experiences. We can carry on the same experience, because a lot of what, you know, how my grandmother treated my mum, and then they carry on those same patterns and behaviors. And at some point, we've got to become more aware. We really got to come into our own and just be more aware of who we are as people, where we've come from, and just really say, no, stop. I'm breaking this cycle. You know, I'm going to hug my children. I'm going to tell them that I love them. It doesn't matter if I didn't get it. If I didn't get this, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to be the person that changes that. You know, and we're not perfect, you know, that we're not trying to be perfect.
No, who wants to be perfect? That would be too much.
There's always room for improvement, and my children teach me every day. Like, we've had big arguments, and they're not afraid to speak to me. They're not afraid to come and tell me, Mum, you know, I don't think you should speak like that, or I think that was a bit wrong, you know. I don't even go to my friends sometimes when I have an issue. I'll go to my son and say, look, you know, this happened. What do you think I do? And he will say, well, you've taught us ABC, so that's what
that's what you need to do. Brilliant. I couldn't have asked for a better person on here. My very first interview. You're super. Let me just ask Queen Jean. Queen Jean, can you ask if anybody wants to ask Jasmine?
Yes, I see that Sister Patricia is unmuted, but how old is your oldest son now?
17. He just turned 17.
Wow. And you know something, you look 17 yourself, you know. You
don't look like
a child. You don't look it at all. You look like a teenager. And when you said you had one child and two children, teenager.
I know. Wow. But it's I get that a lot. And can you imagine when I actually had him, the looks that I got? People
you must have looked 40, like a baby.
The look that I got on there,
But I answering a couple of questions, Jasmine. I'll let Queen Jean select the people who wants to ask a question.
Sister
I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to make a comment as an elder on the platform. You know, it's actually looking at the individual and the environment, and it's the strength and determination and resilience of individuals that overcome the negativity of the environment often that they find themselves in. And all credit to you, Jasmine, because you have actually used your strength. Because you remember you did the SWOTs analysis. You've actually used your strength in terms of recognizing that there's certain places you couldn't speak, you didn't have a voice, but you had your mind. You had your feelings. Yeah. You was able to think through for yourself what you needed to do in certain situations within the environment that you found yourself. And so you were listening to yourself all the way along the line with the support of your ancestors to be able to be determined and resilient. And it's all credit to you, you know, when you listen to yourself, because all the knowledge is within.
Yeah. So noisy. It can be so noisy sometimes.
It can be. But you've been able to overcome a lot of that noise, if you like. Yeah. And you have been able to develop a focus for yourself. And now you've got 4 children. That's also clearly
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was out of the room. Nevertheless, you've got a group of people around you who obviously love and admire you, who you also love and admire and would want to care and guide and protect. So, you know, it's brilliant.
Thank you.
All you know, and also all the different careers that you've had, which is all skills that you've acquired. And you know, at your young age can become now a great what's the position you're aiming for? Advisor, tutor,
consultant and business coach.
Exactly, a coach. Do you know what I mean? And that is, you know, it's great.
Thank you.
I feel really excited for you.
I
wish you all the best. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, much appreciated and received.
Great.
Oh, wonderful. Anybody else got any questions? This wonderful young queen. All quiet out there. I think you've stunned everybody. You literally stunned everyone. And you said that, how was your children picked? Because you said to be picked to go to like university. How were they picked? Is it because of the work that they did in school?
Yeah, it's just how they apply themselves in school. Sometimes I feel like, are they upstairs just on their phone? They're on their phone, or they didn't even have phones at the time. They were like, they're playing games or they're on the tablets. What are they doing up there? And I'll go in and I'll be like, what are you doing? Like, I'm just doing work. Have you got homework? Are you making sure you're doing homework? Yeah, I've done my homework. And I just, so for me, I'm just like, I don't know. I didn't get it, what they were doing. And they have skills, you know, how they can, you know, study and apply themselves. And yeah, my daughter, I say to her, like, how do you go in school? She goes, no, I don't like this subject, but I just do what's got to be done. And in every lesson, she's top 3. Every single lesson, even the ones that she doesn't like.
Yeah.
The ones that I say, that's really good, because now you're building up a muscle. Because some people don't understand is sometimes, you know, we want to quit certain things that we don't enjoy. But if we persevere, we build up that muscle that teaches us, you know, to not quit. You know, we're really building up that muscle that can see us through things that we believe that are hard, that are not enjoyable, things that need to be done.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she's discovered that within herself.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. And you must be so proud as well. Yeah,
I am. Yeah, over the moon. I don't show it too much though. I do acknowledge it though.
That's good. Brother Royston, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to honor you for all that you've shared and what you've done. And I didn't hear it, I wasn't there at the beginning, but so there's some questions that I'm left with that. But the point you made about when you're in a relationship with someone and you've produced children, that it's paramount that you work together you know, through all weathers, that you work together to support and develop the children together as a partnership, you know, and I think that point isn't made often enough, because from the point where the man and woman don't agree, you know, not often, sometimes the children are used as a weapon, you know, against one or the other. And we can be oblivious to the destruction that we're causing to the children by not pulling together for the benefit of the children. So I just really want to acknowledge that you made that point, and to thank you for the wisdom that you bring in identifying that and being clear about how important it is, you know, to hold that as a value. So thank you. I don't know if you want to say any more on that, but, you know, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, me and the children's father, we've had really heated, deep arguments, and in front of the children, and but never once in my mind has it crossed that, you know, you're not seeing the children. That's never been crossed in my mind. And I feel like, as in society, we've been raised, you know, there are some societal norms, you know, that moms stay with the children, or like even after relationships split, the moms get the children, and the dads, you know, dads are providers, mothers are nurturers. And more men nowadays are speaking up and showing that, you know, I don't just want to be provider, I want to be in my child's life, I want to have relationship with my children. And I believe that we as women, as mothers, we need to start listening to their voices, because men are hurting, they are crying from their hearts. They don't express it how us women express our feelings when we're hurt. We will voice it when we're hurt. We will take and we will show, and we be like, that man ain't this and he ain't done that. We express it, but men don't do that. And it is breaking them, especially to not have relation. I could not imagine, you know, how bad I would feel if I didn't see my children. Why do we not think that men will feel the same? Men are not made out of stone. You know, men have hearts. And even when I was, you know, I separated from my children's father many times. That's another talk show. But the fight, you know, for him, that he wanted to be around his children. The fight he wanted to, that he put up, that, you know, how much he wanted to be in his children. You know, I've been raised around women. Women did everything in my family. Women did everything. And I grew up, I was very much in my masculine energy. And I had to understand and realize how much I was in my masculine energy, that could kind of, you know, deter him from wanting to be that and not letting him lead, because women did everything. And we need to understand that we need to firstly recognize how we've been brought up, how we've grown. You know, my dad left me. I've you know, my mum had to do everything, and I'm not good. She's not going to wait on anybody to come and do anything. And I had that same attitude, and it took him going at me for me to really kind of start opening my ears and listening. Okay, this is how it's meant to be. You know, I thought a certain way. I did, you know, be attitude and think, yeah, but I do this. It was always what I did. But I did that. I took over, and we do it sometimes, especially if you're in your masculine energy, we take over everything. And then when we take over and do everything, we want to turn around and say that they do nothing. When we didn't even allow them or afford them the space to even be involved. We are nurturers. We just expect them to go out and provide. So, you know, men, you know, I've seen it with many men that don't get to see their children, that don't have a relationship with their children, that are just seen as just someone that gives money. It's not fair on them, and it really does damage their mental health and their idea of who they are. You know, what their purpose is in life. Because as mothers, you know, when you have children, you have a purpose, right? You have a purpose. What about the father? What's his purpose? without his children? Should he not? Should he just go and fight? Yeah, and I just don't think it's fair. And I give thanks for my partner, the father of my child. Again, we're not together, but I give thanks for him every day, because without him, I wouldn't learn these things. I wouldn't learn who I am as a woman, and what my position needs to be as part, as we're raising 2 children. I sometimes need to zip my mouth and allow him to lead. And I've learned that a lot over the years. Again, nothing's perfect, but I'm so grateful for even if it's been directed to me through anger or through love, I receive it all. And yeah, I'm here for the men now, man. Like they need, we need our men. I can't do it alone, and I don't want to do it alone.
It's lovely to hear that, Jasmine. And I know, sorry, my brother, did you want to say something?
No, just thank you and honor you, sister, for wisdom. Because I mean, the subtle point is that as men, particularly in this country, the half isn't told about what it takes to be a man. To know that, just to step out your house and know you're going to get from A to B.
Yeah.
It's a challenge in itself every day.
Yeah.
Because there's always something waiting to trip you up in some way, or to demasculate you, as it was done in enslavement time, in brutal ways. The scenery's changed, but the methods and the structure and the impact is still the same. So when that happens on street, and you come home to your woman, you want somebody to put her arms around you and say, welcome home, my partner, because you got home safely, and do give thanks for that. Rather than, wait, come on, wait. You know what I mean? So that's just really, really great, and honor and respect to you. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, my brother, as well. Yes, Queen Jasmine, I so admire both of you. As you know, I'm very close to both of you. And one thing that I see most of all is I see more men with their children walking out, right? I see more men pushing pushchair. I see more men taking responsibility as a father. And, in my younger days, all you could see is the woman with the big thing called a pram, looked like a bus, she was pushing it. And the man, he wouldn't even be anywhere nearby, and she had to go and do the shopping, and she had to go and do this. But you see, I always have faith in you younger folks, because every generation has something that they do different to the previous generation. Yeah? I'm a more modernized person than even my parents, who were wonderful parents, were, and their sort of togetherness. I can't say any less than I'm totally encouraged to carry on. I don't want to retire, because it's not me. I want to carry on. I want to be available, and anytime he can pick up the phone or pop round, or you can pick up the phone or ask me to come up or whatever. That's, for me, I look forward to that every single day. I don't know everything, but in having a conversation, sometimes that's all the person needs, to weigh up the pros and cons, So well done, Queen Jasmine, and I'm glad that you've come on and you've said what you said in every possible way. I don't see one thing that you haven't said that you have said that I don't agree with. I agree with everything. And I just trust if anybody else want to ask any questions, they can do it straight away.
Yes, we have Sister Patricia.
Yes, Royston and brought up the issue around partnership, sharing the responsibility of raising the children. And I totally agree with you in terms of the ability or inability on the part of men to express how they feel in terms of their frustrations. And because of that internalization, often they suffer, and the women and children suffer as well. I actually, just because of what you said about your relationship with your father, I just wanted to know, what is the current relationship that you have with your father?
It's non-existent. When he got married, he decided to, you know, not be a part of my life. I actually reached out to him back in, I think it was 2011. Sorry, Nala, get off the chair, please. Mummy's talking. Thank you. And I reached out to him, and only because my children were saying like who was their granddad, you know, and I said, you know what, your dad is my dad is alive. 1 second. Yeah, so like my dad is alive. There isn't no reason why you don't know him, except for the fact that he's chosen not to be in my life. He's aware of, you know, that I have children. He's aware of, he's aware of, you know, who we are. So I spoke to him, and, you know, he's reached out, and we had a big conversation. You know, he says, you know, if I ever need him, I can just pick up the phone and call him. He said, you know, from that conversation, he would message me on my birthday, send me a Mother's Day text, Merry Christmas. I think I saw him once after my 5th child was born. And that was the first time I'd seen him since his sister died in 2007. So I saw him in 2016, and that was the first time he'd seen any of my children.
Wow.
And I welcomed him with open arms. He came to my house. He apologized for not being there. He apologized for, you know, kind of broke down himself. And that's when I started to see, you know, what the things that men go through.
Yeah.
Even though that I could have just said, you know, you weren't there for me, like you abandoned us.
Yeah.
You know, your reasons were rubbish. But I just saw him break down, and I just felt quite heartbroken for him. I said, you know what, Dad, it's fine. I'm fine, as you can see. I'm living, you know, the children are here, we're fine. You know, with you when you're here. He said to my children, don't worry, you're going to see more of me. Ain't seen more of him since. But, you know, I reached out to him again on my birthday last year. I sent him a message and said, you know, everything that I said to you today, I said, you know, I told him I'm not telling him these things for him to take any action, but I just wanted to know how I felt, and how I felt like he broke my heart. And he said he's sorry again, and that, you know, once this COVID thing is over, he's going to make more of an effort. But whether he does or whether he doesn't, I'm not holding him to it. I just hold him in a higher space, and I love him, and whatever he's going through, whatever reason he feels that he cannot come forward and have that relationship with me, that's for him to bear, not for me. He's my dad. I love him. I always will. So I know men have a tough time now. You know, I don't know what it was, what he's gone through. And I know, even being a parent myself, there are things that my children will never know about me.
Yeah.
You know, they won't know about me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't say I know everything about my dad. I can't say I know his mindset. And I've even had to apply that same strategy when I'm with my relationship with my mum. You know, when I would get mad at why she did the things she did, or why she this person. But at the end of the day, my mum's, when it comes to her children, she would do anything and everything to make sure that, you know, we're okay. Yeah, and I love my mum, and I extend that same grace, whatever it is. Like, it just is what it is, you know? It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And we
May
can
I
no
say
longer...
that your mom is also a graduate, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, she said that she's been inspired by for me doing stuff. So she's gone off and gone to university and done stuff. She's now starting her business as well. You know, anything I can do to encourage her, I will. And, you know, she's a wonderful woman. You know, they say mums make better grandparents than they do parents, because they learn so much, right? And I think that's why we love our grandmother so much, because I don't know what it is, like they know, you know, what they didn't do with their child, it's like they can restart kind of thing. So she's a totally different person with my children.
Related, absolutely.
Yeah. So
thank you very much,
we just have we have to extend the grace to them, because we're, you know, even as adults and as parents ourselves, when we are parenting and we realize the faults that we have, you know, with our own children, we'd like that same grace extended to us from our children. So how can I not extend that grace to them? So whenever my dad feels ready, whenever he's ready, if he's ever ready, the door is always open.
And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that about you, Jasmine, that, you know, you're very, very practical in the way you look at things. And I think I've seen that change in you over a certain period of time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've definitely seen the change, because it wasn't always like this.
No, but I mean, it's fair. It's only fair that you felt the way you did. And I mean, you hide your feelings. That's what I like about you. You didn't hide your feelings. If you wasn't happy with something, you say you weren't happy. And I believe that's to be admired. You know, rather than stifling it in and wearing out your kidneys and all of these other organs that would be totally, you know, distressed. I think you have learned to let go. And that to me is fascinating, because, you know, I said to you, you're going to laugh when you see how easy it is to let go. And I can sit back and say, yeah, I can tell you've let go. You've let go.
Every day I let go. Every day, even a little moment, I might be dealing with somebody who's just, a customer or something, you just let go, because it really, you don't have no room for it in your life. And I honestly feel so much lighter. You just get through life, and you see people for who they really are, not what they are displaying.
That's right.
So when you go through, you start to see them for, you know, you're displaying anger, you're showing anger to me, but I can see through that. Okay, you're having your moment. Let me breathe and try not to react to it. And let you have your moment, and wish you a good day, because it really doesn't help to hold on or be getting into petty, which is most of the time, you know, fallings out. When we have fallings out with family members, etc., it's petty. It can be very petty, and it can be resolved through a single conversation.
I think that one of the major things that I think you've learned is what personality is and what characteristics is. Character is the blueprint of whom we are. Personality has an acronym, TAF. The way we choose to think, the way we choose to act, the way we choose to feel. And if we are in the attitude mode, yes, what I liken it to a turtle, right, with a shell. Well, they always shed shells according to how they're growing. So let's say they've shed 3 shells, if that was possible. I don't really even know. But for me, a little mythology does work, yeah, because it's visual. So each of the shells weigh 10 kilos. So here's this fully grown now, walking around very slowly, because it's a very heavy weight, but it can bear it. And here comes the shell police, found the other 3 shells. Said to turtle, listen, I'm sorry, man. You have to put it on your back. And he puts it on the turtle's back. Now the turtle's got 40 kilos, can't move. And that's how we get stuck. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's how we get stuck. And when we leave something, we don't need to go and take it up again.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm ecstatic every time I see one of you actually find yourself. Because remember, as I said, I could never, ever take any credit apart from giving you each tools, you know, and giving you the space that you need. Everybody's different. Everybody takes however long they take. It's not a crime thing. So yeah. I'm glad you individuals like yourself have managed to sort of just say, you know what? So I get upset, it doesn't change anything. I don't get upset, it doesn't change anything. So what's the easiest thing for me to do? Relax. Yeah. Let the other person be whom they choose to be. It's not really them, as you say. You know, and we cannot process what they're going through. Maybe something we don't even know.
Exactly.
Okay? And part of that is the low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Confidence can be grown fairly easily, easy tools to use, but self-worth. I describe that in a metaphor which says, when a person's self-worth is lower than a snake's belly to the ground, to the earth, then, you know, they don't care. I see sisters and brothers out there, you know, selling themselves. And I hear people criticizing them, and I'm saying, don't do that. You don't know what they've been through.
Yeah.
You understand? We don't want them to do it. But one actually explained to me, and I said, sis, what are you doing? She said, listen, I don't want to go in the door. Yeah? I don't want this, just like you said, I don't want these things. And when she described what was being done, I said, wow. And she was doing it for her only son. She was doing it for her only son. She wasn't doing it for herself. And I just said to her, well, you know something? You've taught me so much in this little conversation I was mini-carrying. And when she told me, I couldn't help. The tears were just dropping out my eyes. I could hardly see what I was driving on the A406. You know, I said, wow, is that what happened? So we mustn't be critical. You know, we mustn't criticize, because the truth is we don't know the undertone, you know, what's happened in people's lives. And so that's why you see, I'm always grateful for people telling me things, because like I'm also still learning. I'm always going to be learning. Yeah. And I think that one day, there's a young girl back home that was living in a house that this man who came from England and went over to Jamaica, bought this big house and make a big house or whatever. And he had pure adolescent children in there. And he was selling them to the tourists. And they were interviewing them, you know, and one girl said, look, I went to my mother and I said to my mother, I want to go and study to be a, let's say, a nurse or whatever. And the mother says, I haven't got any money. She says, but mom, where can I get money? And the mother turned to her and says, do like what me and your sisters are doing. I held my head. I felt it was going to explode. You know, and then I said, oh my gosh, look at that. She has no alternative, because works hard to get back home and stuff like that. Certain areas you live, you can't get a job. No matter how wonderful you are. So I said, look at that. And I've often, when I go out on doing speaking, transformational speaking is very, very moving experience. And I like to help people to decide to transform. You know, transformation is easy once you make your mind up. You know, that's it. But yeah, we must never, you know, it's just like the people are taking drugs. It's not a nice thing, and it's ruining them. But I learned from a Hungarian psychologist in Canada, and I was talking to him some years ago, on the phone, and I said, look, you know, he said, well, so you're coaching, blah, 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 what do you do? And I tell him, he says, is there anybody you wouldn't coach? I said, yeah, I can't coach people with this hard drugs business because I don't have the expertise. And he says, very simple. And then he told me, I just stood there and I was frozen to the spot. He said, listen, don't treat the addiction. I said, but. He said, no, listen to me carefully. I said, well, what should I treat? He said, treat the pain. Wow, was that a big lesson?
Mm.
And so I can take them on now because I just treat the pain. Let me ask Auntie Jean what's going on. Auntie Jean, Queen Jean?
Hi, I don't know.
Is Jammers there?
No, Jammers hasn't come. I'll have to give him a call to find out what's happened. Ratio, I know he's not in the country, so maybe he's having problems, having difficulties logging in. But
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna give him a call.
His queen sent me a text to say that she passed on my audio to him, and that he said he'll definitely be taking part. But of course, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah, he's probably in between traveling to where he is, or I don't know, because he said he was in 2 months about what he's going to do, if he's going to try and travel home or stay where he is to link on. So I don't know if he's traveling home. Maybe he's had trouble, but I'm going to find out anyway. I'm going to give.
So did you get through to Jammers?
No, I'm just going to try now.
Okay, let me know.
All right, will do.
So Queen Jasmine.
Yes.
I thank you very, very much. I know you've got your children and you got to look after them.
No, they've been fed. They've had dinner and everything already.
Okay. Do you want to stay with us then?
Yeah, I'm fine to stay.
Okay, lovely. Because I want you to hear Jammers. Jammers is coming to do. He's an etymologist. So you know he's just awesome. I tell him they used to call him, some of his friends used to call him wordsmith or something. I said, no, you're not a wordsmith. He said, what am I? I said, you are a word scientist. Yeah, when you hear what he does with words, this man's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
He's so good. And this Garvey platform is good for us to have to share whatever our skills are. But, you know, there's an actual place, an actual building, you know, that will be used for many different uses to help people. I believe that perhaps when that time comes, you may want to, if you feel like it, you may want to go and lecture there for whatever fee is your fee, you know, to help younger folks because there won't be any jobs for young people come 2-3 years time. See, they're already doing it through the vaccine, you see? Because they know we don't want to take this thing, so that's how they're going to do it. Yeah, that's one way. See,
can I just ask Jasmine, Dr. Lyndon, in terms of current employment, what it is that you actually mentioned it earlier, but you didn't actually complete it, what you actually do now? Yeah?
Okay, so currently,
if you could put your contact details in the chat, so if individuals on the platform would like to make connection with you, they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I will do that. So I started a business called Admin Resolve, and that was providing administrative assistance to businesses in the areas of that, you know, where they needed assistance. Mostly I was supporting online coaches during the pandemic. A lot of them are doing trainings online via Zoom, running their Facebook groups, just posting messages, email management, scheduling, etc., all of those things. And then I took a break in March of this year. I went on what I call a spiritual journey, and just had a time out just to really ground myself and get connected and get aligned with what it is that I want to do. I also work part-time at Tesco's. I have no shame in saying that. I took up the role as a part-time, but you know, when you first start your business, the money isn't rolling in every day as it is, and the money from your business you can't really take out straight away. It's a limited company.
Yeah.
So I took a part-time job at Tesco's. Quickly, within like 3 months, they just put me in like a leadership position.
Yes.
I don't want to particularly be there, but you know, it's part-time and it's extra income.
Yeah.
You know, it's another income stream.
Yeah.
And then I currently have a contract that I'm working with, doing compliance for the recruitment team at Haringey Council. That finishes on the 23rd of this month. And then I'll be relaunching. I've got a rebranding of my company, Admin Resolve.
Yeah.
So I'll be putting that back out. New website, everything will be available for me to start taking on clients at the end of this month. And also coaching. I coach people in between that. So people reach out to me if they know that I do coaching, or they know that, you know, I'm a good person to talk to.
Yeah.
I would just, I do coaching as well, but I'll put my social media handles and my email address, which you can contact me on, in the chat now.
Thank you for that. Didn't realize you did coaching as well.
Yeah, I'm quite busy. I like to keep myself busy, but like I said, that sometimes it can be to my detriment. That's why I took a break from running my business, because I really felt I had to kind of slow down and not try and be everything at once. I know I have dreams and goals and aspirations, but there are the things that are important to me, like spending quality time with my children. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of time. It's about the quality of that time.
Yes.
And being involved in their lives. I just started to recognize certain changes, and I just felt, no, I have to get in and nip that in the bud. I need to let my children know that I'm available for them. You know, they don't like me going to work. If I'm like, there's one, but not all of them. There's like one or two particular, like, are you going to work today? I'm like, I'm only going for 4 hours. But you have to start listening to when your children need. They might not just be asking, they might just need you. So there's something behind that when they're asking me. So I recognize that, okay, I need to be at home more.
Yes.
Thankfully, the contract that I have with Haringey allows me to work from home. And they see more of me. You know, we cook together more. Yeah, it's much more better. So in that break, I'm starting to get a structure for how I want to lead in my business. I don't have to be working 60 hours a week. You know, I'm really just gonna do what I can do and scale. As my family grows, then I will grow.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Do you have a target group in terms of which with which you work? I mean, for instance, are you going to be working with young people, or the range? Is it wide range, or?
So I tend to attract women at no particular age range. Well, more over 30s. I tend to attract women over 30s. And that's the age range that I go for. I say from about, you know, once you've left university, if you've left university at 24, 25, and you need some guidance. So I'll go from like 25 up until in their mid 40s.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I have a group of women that I speak to now. I think the oldest is 46. There's a group of us in there. She's going to be 50, she said, in 4 years, and we get on like best friends. Like, age really doesn't come into it. If we can, if I can speak to you and you are able to and we can find some common ground and we can connect, and something that I say connects with you, then, you know, and I'm able to assist you in that way, then yeah, we literally just go forward, we go at it.
That's excellent. That is excellent.
Because as well, like when I say age is a mindset.
Yeah.
For some people, you can be 46 and still be 18 in your mind.
Yes.
You know, you can carry on, you know, your behaviors, everything. There might be something stuck that's keeping you thinking that you are still 18. You behave like you're 18. I know some women that still very dependent on their mums, you know, and they're big grown women, and they want their mum to do everything. They feel entitled to have certain things. It really doesn't matter what age you are, I say. So it's very much a mindset thing.
Excellent. Excellent. Very mature and inspiring presentation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Lyndon has been he's been I say like the catalyst for a lot of my growth. We've had some very long conversation. I mean, in the last few years, it hasn't been as much. And I feel like that's because I've graduated from the school of Lyndon. You know, when you graduate. No, we keep in touch time to time in it, but honestly, I'm fine. I know I'll be, you know, everything in everything I'll be okay. And even when it doesn't seem like I'm okay, I really have a sense of peace that resides within me. What I've been looking for many years, and I felt like I didn't have. I found that peace that I can always go to when I feel out of sync, or, you know, I have that peace now.
You've done marvelously well, and you know, it's just like birds. You know, if you watch birds and you see the little baby birds there, and the father or the mother flies off, comes back with the food, feeds the baby. After a while, the mother or the father goes and takes the wing and pushes the child out of the thing and said, "You got wings now, go fly. Go fly."
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I'm always going to be there if you need me. So it's not a biggie, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm proud of you, very proud of you, and your partner. I don't want to say his name right now, but you know, I'm really, really proud, because both of you showed me, like, you know what? All we needed was a push start. That's it. You know, that's all you needed, because you've got everything there. You've got everything. You shape it the way you want to shape it. You know, this is how it works. Very proud of you. Look at Linda as well. I mean, every time I see Linda on social media, she's in a different country, you know? And she's still so humble. Very, very humble like yourselves. In fact, I don't have anyone that I've coached that is a big head. You know, each of you are very humble. You found peace. You found how to control your thoughts. You know, at some point, maybe people like yourself might never have thought you could do that. But look, you're doing it without even any help. You know, this is your own sort of strategy that you've used. You know, so you feel proud of yourself, because you know what? What I say to people is hug yourself, pat yourself on the back, and say, "Jasmine, well done." Yeah. It's a good feeling, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a very good feeling, and I enjoy it as well. Especially within a group setting, like I have a group of women that we come together. We join together every morning and pray. You know, we have to get up at 5 a.m. without any excuses, as you call it. And we get up, and today it's like they are tired. I hear it in their voice in the morning, the tiredness. But the discipline that we are creating with it, they don't even know what they're creating within themselves. And I love, that part of my work that I loved it when it comes to coaching is, you know, seeing what they're creating, but without them even realizing it. They're going to realize it sooner down the line. They're going to realize what they're creating, and that they can create. And I believe it's so important to ask yourself when you wake up in the morning. I don't know what everyone's morning ritual is. I'm up 4:30, between 4:30 and 5. Whatever your morning ritual is, like a question that you should ask yourself is, you know, what am I creating today?
Yes.
Or what do I want to create today? You know, how am I going to show up? This is what I ask myself. How am I going to show up in a way that is going to serve, inspire, or move me one step closer to the goal, the vision I have set for myself? Really ask yourself. And then before you go to bed, ask yourself, what did you learn today? Because that reinstills the learning that you have done. Sometimes the days pass by and we think we haven't learned anything. But honestly, you think you haven't learned anything. And sometimes we're so busy. We're so busy being busy and not productive. So taking those moments, those little moments, it takes about 5 minutes. Just to sit down and give it literally 5 minutes. What do I want to create today? And at the end of the day, what have I learned today? You know, what did I create today? And just writing them down in a little book or journaling
is a powerful tool. You know,
it's key to emptying out what's on your mind. It's one less thing to offload on your mind. When you start to put out that habit of journaling, it becomes natural. You start to think, okay, I've got so much, because the noise, as the sister said, can be so noisy. Journaling is a way to filter out that noise.
That's right.
And just be quiet and allowing, as you ladies call it, the ancestors to just speak to you. That moment in the morning, just that quiet time. What do I want to create today? And just listen. How do I create it? And just listen.
That's right.
Just listening for that direction and that
guidance.
And
how about head talk? You know, head talk is the key, right? Head talk is the key. There's nothing wrong with if you have to contemplate something at some time, but go with your voice, you know, your of influence. That's why I named it in a voice of influence. Bam, you know, every time we do something, what we've got to know is there are lots of brains. We don't just have one brain, you know. We got 3 sort of major brains, which deals with different things. The one in the head, the heart is the number 1 brain. It tells this one and the other one, which is in our stomach, what to do. So we got 3 brains there. But then every single neuron, there's 100 billion neurons in our head, in this brain. There's 59 in the string that goes down, the brainstem. And in the rest of the body, there's about 68 or something like that. 68 million, but billions are in here. Every single one of those is a brain. Can you believe it? Every single neuron is a brain. You know? And it was what I love about my coaching, as I said, when I set it up, it has to be, you know, science-led, an amalgamation of science. Yeah? And so right now, neuroscience is the in science. You know, it's the one that's floating to the top. And it's so easy to get everything, you know, into your mind, like, wow, the vagus nerves in here. Which side of the vagus nerves am I operating on? You know, the fight, flight, or fear one, it goes to the sympathetic side. The other side is the parasympathetic, which is the one that calms us down. And you see the breathing? Today, I can go on and download my certificate as a breathing coach, you know, from one establishment, and on the other establishment, as I say, when I finish that 21 day, I'll have another certificate in that. And at the same time, I'm doing a very minor, 3 minor courses at Harvard for neuroscience, you know, because I would like to conquer that, because and quantum physics, these are brilliant stuff. So I'll never run out of tools. I always want to modernize, have more tools, and even the questionnaires, you know.
That's wonderful. We've got Sister Patricia in the waving away in the background.
All right.
Get a question in.
It looks like it's just myself and Royston engaging with you tonight, Lyndon and Jasmine.
That's fine.
But I was listening, obviously, because Pi Ratio hasn't communicated with you yet, Auntie Jean?
No, he's not in the country, so he's probably having internet connection problems. I have spoken with.
Sorry, it's either that or today is his brother's funeral.
Okay.
Could well be that. Could well be that.
Right. I have spoken with Jammers. And
whereabouts is he coming in, or isn't he coming in?
He's coming in. He said he's coming in, but he should have been in already by the time he said he was coming in.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Maybe he's walking in.
I have a quick question, Jasmine, whilst we're waiting.
Yes.
That is to do with reparations. You know, the Emancipations Reparations Committee. I mean, we talk about the need for us to heal, to reclaim. Mm-hmm. You know, in terms of moving forward and healing. And for me, the reclamation start with the self, which is what you've done in terms of the work that you've been doing with Dr. Lyndon. So when you started, was it more counselling therapy that you dealt with? And if so, is it something that you would want to speak on in terms of recommending that to people on the platform? Are you able to speak on that at all?
Yeah, I don't believe. I from my point of view, I didn't feel like it was counselling. Lyndon provided a space for me to express and be myself without judgment. I've never been to what a formal counselling session may be, so I wouldn't know the format. But I was allowed to be myself. I was allowed to scream. I was allowed to when I look at myself, it felt like I was a crazy woman at this time. But just providing the space for me to express how I felt and use the voice that I didn't think I had. I would highly recommend anybody go to coaching or counselling or therapy. Not every coach is a therapist. A coach is, you know, Lyndon studies things at such a deep level and a high level. He doesn't just do the basics. So he is reading I just wrote some of the things down when he was talking about the parasympathetic and whatever. I need to go and look at that. He will study the brain and understands how things are working in our bodies. As coaches, we don't learn things on that deep level. So a therapist maybe, and a counselor. So depending on what your level of, let's say, your level of issues or how deeply you feel like it's affecting you, I would say yes, go and seek a counsellor or therapist for those deep traumatic issues. Not every coach is able to deal with the things like Lyndon would be able to help you with. I certainly wouldn't be. However, if it's something like you feel stuck, you know, I've trained in neuro-linguistic programming, and often it is times when people come and when they're speaking, they're having trouble revealing or coming to terms of revealing what it is that they feel that is holding them back. And then I would help them to kind of reveal that. And once we get to revealing that, then we go through steps and trying to help them releasing and then repairing, you know, that, making amends with what, forgiving yourself. It's a sense that forgiving yourself and then starting off new. We start new steps and make new plans and create new visions for your life. You are no longer held or tied down to what you believed was holding you back. It could be things like confidence. You know, a lot of people think they don't have confidence, and like Lyndon said, that can be dealt with very quickly. Very, very quickly. It's just a simple mindset thing. A lot of the times we tell ourselves we are things we are not, but it's not the voice, it's not our voice that is telling us that, it's somebody else's voice. So we go back and establish who told you that you wasn't that, because it wasn't you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So there are many aspects, depending on, you know, what the level of pain or the level of trauma that you are dealing with. Some, I would say, definitely go to therapy and counseling. And if you can, I would recommend to find a Black therapist or counselor.
That was my next question, really.
I would recommend, because yes. Yeah, because I feel like, you know, I love everybody, skin, nation, color. I don't care. You show me respect and show me love, that's fine. But there are things that we go through as Black people that only other Black people understand. So your Black therapist, you say something, your Black therapist can know what you're saying, can understand without you even saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, they'll understand. Like, we have a certain communication between us Black people. Like, certain cultures, we just know.
Mm-hmm.
You say, you know, I went to the shop, or you can say things like, you know, my mum wasn't there. You know, she brought a man home one day and I had to stay in the room. Like, it could be something like that. Not that I'm not saying that, that's just an example.
Yeah.
You know, they would know and they would understand.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I would recommend.
Assumptions.
Yeah.
I'm asking all these questions because I know a lot of people are reluctant to engage and open up with people about their personal life, and as a consequence, they are actually suffering.
Very much so.
Yeah. So what I wanted you to focus on and maybe encourage people on the platform to think about, you know, in terms of their own personal healing, to look at, you know, going into counselling, therapy, coaching, whatever, you know, just to move from where they are at this time, they are stuck.
And
and
can I just cut in 1 second, because unfortunately I've got to go to another meeting. I'd love to stay because it's really been fascinating and brilliant. But just on that point, it's not so much about people are hurting themselves, it's that they're hurting others because they're hurting, you know, and not realize that I'm hurting somebody else because I'm hurting. And the impact on that, particularly us as a community, is that it's passed from generation to generation to generation. And we have children or cousins not talking to each other. They don't know why they're not talking to each other, but because their uncle and their aunties weren't talking to each other, you know? And so the thing goes on. So that when I meet you in the middle of the high street, I don't know you anymore, and you're my cousin, you know? So anyway, it's a bigger story. So much love and respect to you, my sister. And Dr. Lyndon, thank you for holding up that torch. Auntie Jean, Patricia, everybody else, one love, yeah?
One love, my brother.
All right, see you all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Did you want to say any more on that, Jasmine?
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes that the reason I find as well that a lot of people don't come forward because they're afraid of being judged.
Yeah.
It's the judgment. But when you find somebody, you find a coach, you can find somebody that you can release to, and you know that you're not going to get judged. And that's what Lyndon was for me. I could say whatever it was, and I know that I wouldn't be judged. And that's the space that some people find difficult in finding. Because you get some coaches and some therapists that like to tell you what to do, or tell you how you should do, or what they think you should do in your situation, where the truth is it's not for them to tell you what to do, it's them to facilitate the space for you to find your own answers. And deal with your own healing. And for some people it might not be as quick as others. It will take time, but taking that first step, courage, and it's showing, your inner self, your true inner self is calling. It wants to be heard. It wants to speak, but you cannot hear it because you're caging it in, in this shell, in this cage. You're hiding it. It cannot express itself, and it's calling. So that's what the hurt is.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what happened to you. It's not necessarily, the trauma that you think you've been through sometimes. What the pain is for some people is it's your inner self is calling to be heard, to be expressed, to be authentic, and it can't do that. And that's what the hurt is. Yeah. But you're attributing the hurt to something that happened to you, So, yeah.
You call this internalized depression.
Yes, very much, very much so.
Yeah, I just wanted you to emphasize that. I'm using you in a way to emphasize that for the people on the platform, because as African heritage people, we are suffering tremendously. And it's really important that we take responsibility to work through and take responsibility for our own healing, start that process.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Can I just say something, please, sir?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, just want to say respect, Jasmine, to yourself and Doctor. It's been a really beautiful lesson, beautiful, powerful spirits. So I just want to acknowledge that to start with. I just wanted to pick up on the last couple of things you've been saying, Jasmine. I suppose I just want to re-emphasize what you said. I know Brother Royston's just left, but I also want to go back a bit to kind of, for me, I think it's really important, and I think you've said it, that there's no hierarchy in pain. Yeah, so the person who's causing pain is just as important as the person who gets hurt. Yeah, we don't create a hierarchy around who is more important in terms of whether we call it the perpetrator or the victim. The perpetrator is hurting. Yeah, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they weren't in deep pain, as you name it, Jasmine. Yeah, so I think it's important that we don't judge the perpetrator. And I'm not saying that I'm condoning that.
Yeah,
just the perpetrator.
Definitely not. Yeah,
healing is in as much as the quote unquote victim does. And just to go back to what you said, Jasmine, I really love the phrasing that you put around the pain. The pain is a call. Yeah, it's actually our inner being speaking to us for something deeper to be expressed. In my terms, that would be the ancestors, that would be our spirit guides, that would be our purpose, that would be our higher self, whatever you want to call that, whatever names you want to give it. So I just think it's a really beautiful and elegant and powerful way to frame it. Yeah, that because sometimes I think what happens, I can speak personally, is that there can be such shame around the pain. Yeah, because I take it personally. Yeah, or we can take it personally. We can think it's us. We can think there's a deficiency or something's wrong with us anyway. Yeah. Why I can't quote unquote overcome this challenge, this issue, whatever it might be. So I think it's a really elegant way to frame it like you did, as an invitation,
Mm-hmm.
to come, what we can be and what is being invoked by our spirits and by those who know us best in the world of spirit as well. So I just wanted to say, just to kind of re-emphasize what you're saying, because I just think it's really critical and beautiful and important, what you're doing and how you're doing it, because there's something to me about your presence, which is absolutely, totally powerful, in your stillness, in your silence, in your listening, in just a beautiful steadfastness that you express and you emit. And sorry, didn't do that. I just want to salute that. And I'll call him the Godfather behind you. Godfather Lyndon. It's just beautiful. I just want to say it's beautiful, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. That's it.
My honorable younger brother, Elroy, listen, thank you very much for speaking with Jasmine and making those points. I just wanted to make a very small point, but it's also a very potent point, is that Black, Nubian, Melanin African people as a whole see a stigma. There's been held back by a stigma when it comes to counseling, psychotherapy, coaching, whatever it is. They don't want to be part of it because they don't want anybody to know they've got a problem. And then there's a second part of that, which is the trust. Most Black people do not trust the other Black people. Mm-hmm. And that's also underlying, plus what you've said, plus what Jasmine said, which we've all put in there. But you see, one of the most powerful things, and it's not boasting, it's about coaching, that I learned before I designed my own, is two things. One, coaching must be focused on the individual. It's much more powerful that way and more meaningful to the individual. A one-size-fits-all coaching, I'm not criticizing it because it might help some people, but I can assure you that I'm honest in saying I've never lost a client that's agreed to the terms. As you know, Jasmine, there's a contract, okay? There's a contract. Whatever we have discussed goes in that contract and we are held to account, Like you said, the other side of it is, I've studied therapy the way they taught it in uni. And I'm not going to say again that it doesn't help. But like you said earlier on, Queen Jasmine, it's not the responsibility of the coach, counselor, whomever it is, the therapist, to try to do something for the client. The client needs to vent. The client might need to mourn. The client may need to do a whole heap of things, but it cannot be resolved permanently if it's done by somebody outside of the client. So these are real relative facts. Relative facts. Yes, it's got to be you, and you take whatever time it takes you. Like, everybody works at their own pace. I've never turned around and said to anybody, well, look, I've been seeing you for a couple of years and now you should get on with it. No. I said, right, where are you now? Tell me where you are. What's holding you back? Can we talk about it? Blah, blah, blah. And as you know, I never stop talking. So
I'm just going to say, just a sec. I want to just check to see if Jammers, are you in the house? Jammers? I thought it was David coming with Jammers. Jammers, can you hear me? Okay, maybe not. Maybe
his name is not up there.
I see you, Dave.
Dave, no. Well, it could be him. His name is David, isn't it?
Yeah. Jammers? Well, not answering. Okay. All right. Let's just say last final words from Sister Jasmine.
Well, if I could just jump in here. Final words. I believe that Queen Jasmine has shown a degree of autonomy. Yeah, a degree of autonomy, a huge degree, because it tells me, are you speaking?
No, we're listening to you, Lyndon.
Oh, I didn't want to disturb.
No, she's muted, so you're not disturbing her.
Thank you. The truth is, see, Jasmine, as you can see, she's totally balanced now. You know, Jasmine is at the stage of homeostasis or homeostasis. Yes, it's a place where you balance, you properly balance. Yeah, Jasmine is using both hemispheres of her brain, not just one side. Most people who are hurt just using one side. And that side is the logical sequence of the conscious mind. Because if something doesn't go step by step or rational, logical, they lose. I, as Jasmine will tell you, and all of my clients will tell you, I do not belong to the common sense club. Yeah? Because that's just common sense and everybody's got it. I'm an unconventional, uncommon sense. There's nothing wrong with uncommon sense. In fact, there's everything right with it. Yeah, and that's how my coaching goes. It's about the uncommon sense. I'm not saying you can't be logical some of the time, but the difference is, are you a critical thinker? You know, are you a holistic thinker? No, most people are one-sided thinker. Yeah, because already they've taken on the MEE victim, the me victim status, and they wear it like a cloak. Sometimes it's more like a skin, like there's a third skin there. And they're walking in their own shadows, trampling their own shadows, whether it's early morning, noon, or afternoon. You never see that if everybody else shadows in front of you before 12 midday. It's underneath your feet at midday, and after midday, 1 degree after midday is behind you.
Yeah.
Many people don't know how to press that delete button. Many people don't know how to switch off. Yeah? Many people suffer with what is termed as busy brain because they think too much. And what they don't realize is that we have some things in our brain called dendrites, which actually is a physical activity to think. So when you hear somebody's got burnout, it's because they think too much. It's simple. And now if you got burnout, I know one woman, she told me, oh, my leg's just jumping like that. I said, oh, you've got moving leg syndrome. She said, that's what the doctor said. What can I do? I said, well, first of all, you've got to get some dopamine. She said, but I'm not on drugs. I say, the body makes every single drug they sell out in the street. And I'm telling you that. Dopamine deficiency made her leg do this. She couldn't have any control over it. And the doctor couldn't, because she's not a drug addict, so-called, the doctor could not give her the dopamine. But there was one way of getting the dopamine, which I told her about. Now she hasn't got moving leg syndrome. Yeah?
Excellent.
Yeah? We've got so many good things happening. I mean, adrenaline, all right, so that happens.
We've got Jammers in the house now, so you can...
He's in the house?
Yeah, Jammers has just arrived.
Okay, I want Queen Jasmine to hear Jammers. Jammers is fantastic. So, Queen Jasmine, thank you again. And thank you for staying on despite the fact that we've well overrun the time.
But you know something, we learned a lot more about Queen Jasmine, and the more the longer she was with us, is the more inspiring her life is to us.
Yes,
so we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Just from having the extra time. So I really do appreciate, love that. And thank you, Jasmine. Keep on going and keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on keeping on.
Thank you so much.
You're only just on the first run of the ladder, and you've done so much already.
It's plenty more in the tank from her.
Yes,
just
most definitely.
Wait and see.
Most definitely. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Lyndon.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Queen Jasmine, young Queen Jasmine, I should say. You're like a teenager. Jammers, welcome, finally, but welcome. The screen is now yours. You want to quickly introduce yourself, let people know who you are. And Jasmine also would like to know who you are and what you can deliver. The screen is now yours, and welcome.
Can I screen share as well?
Oh yeah, I'll give you a screen share. Your sound is a bit
You test your sound.
Yeah, your sound is not 100%.
Oh.
It's like a squeaky noise.
I know why it is.
Coming. Yeah, you're able to share your screen. Okay. All right.
Now.
Speak now.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh, much better. Brilliant.
Oh, great.
Brilliant.
Trying to find this.
Right, knows who Jammer is.
Okay. Do you want to say who you are while you're doing that? Can you multitask?
Yeah, my name's Jammer as well. My speciality, I suppose, is looking at words.
Yes.
Looking at etymology means the origin of words, how words are formed, and the original source of words. Yeah, and my specialty, I suppose, is looking at words, but then looking at the intelligence behind why the words were formed. There's not really a name for it, but this is what I do. You know, it came to me. I was in like a traumatic situation. Basically, I was living in a van for a couple of years, and then, funny enough, I used to read all of these Marvel comics, the superheroes and stuff like that. And I feel like the ancestors have just given me this gift at looking at words in a different way to what academia does. You know, and it's sort of, and I've had to check it out with like study like Latin, Greek, and look into ancient languages just to see if what comes to me can be validated by what is out there. And more often than not, what I seem to see inside the words and how the words are formulated, it seems to stand correct, which is what is out there. But I haven't done it through like a long study at university or a degree or Bachelor of Arts. It's just something that's just come to me just naturally, you know. And that's what I do. See if I can find this screen share. It doesn't seem to be sharing.
Yeah, it did share earlier. There you go.
Oh, right, okay. No, that's not what I wanted to share. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not able to share my. Well, let me see. Can you see the screen now?
No, we did before, but it was Brother Leader Bandaka we saw.
Right, you didn't see it. Okay, let me see. Screen. Okay, cool. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, okay, cool. Right, can you see it now?
Yeah, we see
okay.
Etymology.
Yeah, what the science, well, one of the things that I do is called etymology. It's English from Latin, from Greek, and it comes from the Greek word etymology. I'm not a Greek speaker, so I can't really speak Greek, but etymologia. Maybe Lyndon be able to say the correct spelling.
Etymologia.
Etymologia. So it's the analysis of
it's
a
correct.
word.
It's correct, brother. It's correct.
Okay, it's correct. Cool. Oh, what's happened to my screen here? All right. Okay. So it's the analysis of a word to find its true origin. So that's a bit strange in itself. What do you mean by truth? So if you're looking for the true origin, that means the words that we're using must be false.
What's happened to the screen?
The screen's gone again.
The screen's gone again?
Yeah.
Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we're back in.
You're back in, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that there's something up straight away, because if you're looking to find, I spelled find wrong, to find with a D, it's true. That means there's something must be wrong already. Why do we have to, why? That means the words that we're using, there must be something that's not correct with them. But so this is basically what I do. But today I'm going to be looking at trauma from an etymological standpoint. So trauma is a Latin, comes from English via Latin from a Greek word, trauma, which means a wound, a hurt, or a defeat. So this is what the trauma means in its essence, and in a medical essence of what trauma is. So if it comes from the Greek word, let me go back to it. So trauma, a Greek word using hurt and defeat. You have to look at Greek principles in relation to hurt and defeat. And the nearest thing that I found is Odysseus, the Greek goddess of depression, grief, and anxiety. Right. The Roman goddess in relation to the Greek goddess name is Misera, which where the word misery comes from. So the terms that we're using are not coming from an African perspective or a Kemetic perspective. The words that we're using, the psychology that we're using, doesn't come via us. Can you still see the screen?
No.
It just went. It just went.
It just went. Okay.
Yeah.
It keeps going for some reason.
Using a tablet?
No, I'm using my phone. That's why.
Okay, no wonder.
I'll have to next time. It's still not there now?
No, not yet.
Okay, 1 second. I've lost what's happened here. I'll have to. So back in the Zoom.
While we're in the silence, this is you're tuned into Auntie Jean Zone on Black Culture Radio, which is all the W's, blackcultureradio.com. So Jammers is just sorting out his screen share.
Sorting out my screen share, which is not working. Okay. So the closest, so basically what I was saying is it's a Greek concept. Mm-hmm. So what it really is going on is that we are really under. Right, let me go through to trauma. So this is the Greek goddess of misery. She's a goddess of depression, grief, and anxiety. And that's where the word misera comes from, where misery comes from. If trauma relates to wound, then we're looking at the god of war, which is Mars. So Mars. And the reason why I'm saying this, because the formula in relation to force, because a wound is caused by force. And Newton's second law of force is force equals mass of an object plus acceleration. So when force is applied to an object, it could be a physical, mental, or psychological force. It leads to a deformity. So that means it leads to another form being created. So that's the essence. Let me just go. I'm just going to go back to a normal screen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the essence of what I've just said is that we are living in trauma without some of us realizing it. The reason why I say we're living in trauma, because it's like an ant teaching a fly how to be a fly. The ant has no concept of what it is to be a fly. Or put it in a better word, a chicken, because this is one that we use already, a chicken teaching an eagle how to be a chicken. The chicken will make mistakes, and suddenly when it tries to run like a chicken, its wings will open and it will start flying. And then the chickens will laugh at that chicken for flying, and that chicken will feel bad about flying. So we are running under trauma because we are being taught religiously, spiritually, and leisure, and how to conduct ourselves by people other than us, who have a different makeup to us, who have a different way of thinking due to who they are. So unless we find out who we are as a people and come to a common term of finding out who we are, then we are living a whole lifestyle that is traumatic, or a lifestyle of an essence of somebody other than ourselves. You know, people are living their whole lives based on somebody else's thought process, somebody else's way of thinking, somebody else's way of doing things. So what we have to do, this is through like what I do, etymology, we have to really look at how we have to navigate in our life to move in a way that we can find ourselves and who we are. And the first thing in relation to who we are is that we're not based on a word, especially a word that somebody else has given us to assign as our identity. In our real essence, we are not a word based on a skin color. We are not a word based on a location. We're not a word based on a characteristics. We're not a word based on a star sign. You know, these are just forms of identification. Or we're not a word that relates to a religion. These are forms of identification, but these are just essences or things that we associate ourselves to. And as long as we associate ourselves to these concepts without really looking into what we really are, or asking questions beyond what we've been given, you know, we're going to be stuck in these words that we have been given to use by somebody other than ourselves. So for instance, the word person, when you look at the word person, you're not a person in the way that the word person has been given you to use. Person is made up of two sounds. First sound is per, which means through something. So when you perceive something, that means you look through it. When you're looking at perspective, you look through something. You know, so per means through. It means to go through something. Son comes from the word sonic, comes from the word energy. You know, so person just means the energy that comes through you. So you are just energy. You are just a vehicle that allows energy to come through you. So this means that you don't have a fixed form. You don't have a fixed form. You have the ability to manipulate energy in whatever form you want to do. In relation to trauma, trauma is when you experience something, and through that experience you attach yourself to that experience, and in such a way that you believe that you can't separate from that experience, and then you carry that experience with you. You know, you believe you become that experience, and in relation to who we are, once again, person means you just have energy going through you. Then you have a power to manipulate the energy that goes through you. So this means that we are really, in a word that I could use, we are like alchemedians. Alchemy is alchemy. So basically we're performing alchemy. Basically, we are using chemicals in us in relation to creating the way that we move, the way that we think. You know, every time we do something, we have a system in us that enables us to do whatever we think. You see, so we have the ability to create whatever state we want to be in, and that's the reality of who we are. We are not a fixed form. We are people who can do whatever we perceive we want to do. The problem is, because one aspect that has been taken away from our concept of why we're kind of trapped in certain trauma is in relation to a word that's been taken, a word that's been seen as a negative word that's been applied to us. And the word is, once again, as in the formula, is the word force. Force is a way in which that you are able to maneuver. In the words of Ra, I've got the words. In the words of I'll get his name before I end. But in relation to who we are, we have energy. We have energy coming through us from an imperceivable force. You know, the energy that we have going through is greater than us. Like our ability to think, our heartbeat, the way we manipulate air, the way we have balance, with the way we can see differentiate with color. And especially through us as a melanated or carbonite being, we have a greater ability to manipulate frequencies. And manipulating frequencies is just calculations. On a higher level, we can absorb information, and that is what is called feeling. Feeling, once again, over a long distance is telepathy. Like sound over a long distance is telephone, because tel means distance. Vision over a long distance is television. So feeling over a long distance is telepathy, because pathy means feeling, as in sympathy, empathy. So we have a telepathic nature where we can take somebody else's feeling and read the feeling. So we can see somebody can come into a room and we can read who that person is because of our ability to feel, where we are being trained to be reigned over by people who need figures and calculation and statistics because they don't have that level of ability to interpretate. This is why they need machines and calculations to do things that we can feel, especially when it comes to dancing. Dancing is basically interpreting vibration. So we have the ability to interpret a vibration that other people copy, you know, and they have ability to mimic and copy what we do, you know. So in relation to who we are, once again, we have the ability to manipulate energy. So that means if you can laugh and cry in a second, you're not fixed by any word, you know. Inside the word label, the first sound in the word label is the word lay. The next sound in the word label is able. So when somebody gives you a label, they lay down what you're able to do. And if you accept these words as who you are, then you shut yourself down to things that you can do outside of that. So that's just a basic introduction. Has anybody got any questions to ask in relation to what I've just said?
Anybody got any questions?
I haven't got a question, but I'd just like to say, wow, David Jammers has moved the dial, because I grew up with David Jammers in Tottenham.
Okay.
And we've been on a journey. We've been on a musical journey, and now a spiritual journey. And I'm just so proud to hear the way he's delivered what is in his mind, and he's done it through books, he's done it through plays, he's done it through various platforms. And I'm just saying, well done, congratulations. I'm very impressed, and I'm learning. So thank you.
Wonderful. I see, Jasmine, you've unmuted.
Yeah, that was fire. Like, so many wow moments in everything he just said. My question is, so with everything you've just said, like, how does someone teach or help other people to deconstruct, you know, the notions of the labels that we've put on ourselves? I love what you said about, you know, what the label means. You know, someone has laid upon what they believe you are able to do. How can we deconstruct and unlearn from the labels that have been put on us?
Well, I think the hardest thing sometimes because is to convince somebody else, because they've invested so much time and energy into these concepts. You know, it's like a bank when you put so much money in the bank, and if you haven't got something to give them, they're not going to be able to leave what they've invested so much time with. If you're on the same level as them, I mean, if they're living well and you're not living well, your words are not going to be able to convince them. So the best thing that you can do is lead by example. You know, when you generate a certain energy, energy is like it's like coronavirus, basically. Somebody gives you a dirty look, and all of a sudden, because we don't understand that we really have the ability to see when somebody gives you a dirty look, the reason why you feel bad is because you can feel what they're feeling about themselves.
Yeah.
We don't have that power. We take on the feeling and think that there's something wrong with us.
We don't recognize that power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get you.
And what it is with them, you see, what it is with, because basically, in relation to who we have a totally different makeup from in our DNA, because we've come from a place of abundance, come from a place where there's abundance of food, there's abundance. So we have time to create, we have time to laugh, joke, and relax. They come from a place of scarcity. So they're in their DNA, they've got a hunter's mentality. So they have a total different, and it's good for them, because that, just like animals have different, you know, if you look at how nature is, nature gives animals different forms based to their environment, so that for the best way to optimize their survival. What's happened to us is that we've been forced and taken into somebody else's lifestyle, somebody else's way of living, and thinking that's our way of living, and thinking that that's the only way of living. So we are now, every time we do something that somebody else is showing us who's not one of us, we're actually diminishing who we really are. You know,
that's
virtually every word we're using is based on their psychology, their reasoning, which works for them. You know, so as I said, the way it is through example. It's basically, we have the ability, you know, you have to do it for yourself, and then others will see what you're doing and take things from you that way. You know, so the first work you have to do is with yourself, and then when you do it with yourself as well, it's like we are electromagnetic beings. So you will find, just like with people who've come to Auntie Jean's, you will find that you will attract people with that energy to you. Just like a smile will light up a whole room, you know, or somebody walks in the party and just the way they move, their charisma, everybody's watching them. You see,
yeah.
So the more you tap into who you really are, the more you free yourself from the trauma that's around you, because you have to free yourself first before you can free any other. Most likely people will drag you or the other problem is, once you start to have that light, everybody wants to drain your energy from you. You know, so it's a journey that you have to take to find your way. But the best work you can do is with the young stars, to help them shine. You know, the young stars, these are the ones we have to work with, you know, because they're the future.
Yeah.
And the more you delve into who you are, is the more the puzzle becomes clearer. And that's all you need. I think the best thing you can do is when you can see things clearly, then you don't have no drama. You don't have no you don't have no disturbance. You have a balanced state of mind. You know? Because really, who we really are, when you really check who we really are, you're just a thought. That's all you are. That's all you are, really.
My daughter's friend once said, "You're just an opinion."
And it's the young stars, they really know. They're trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you who you really are. So that thought is what people carry their whole life by the thoughts that they've got in their skull. You know.
Yeah.
But the real formula is a free thought. Is to feel the thought that's thinking the thought. Because then you can free the thought from the attachments of a restriction or a limitation. Because virtually every thought you think about yourself is you're limiting yourself. But you are the energy of the thought. It's a hard one to get your head around, but you wake up in the day, you feel, oh no, what day is this going to be like? Oh no, the phone, oh, I've got to do. So you're just the thought process. So the thought that you wake or carry yourself, that's who you are for that period of time.
Yeah.
And the problem is we're carrying around other people's thoughts all the time, other people's concepts,
all the time.
playing the roles that other people have given us to play. They're using us, basically. And the problem is we are like the calculator. We have everything in us, but we're the calculator that everybody else is doing their calculations on.
Yeah.
And they know what buttons to push on us to get the results they want.
Yeah.
You know, so we really have to recognize the power. Even on the landmass we got, if Africa closed its doors, the whole world would starve.
Yeah, true.
Right. You know, so you can see nature placed us in the place of abundance and placed them in the place of scarcity for a reason. You see, so they don't want us to recognize what is really going on here. You know? So we run around traumatized, trying to play the roles of the labels, that the words that they've given us to identify. And the problem with a word, if it doesn't give you an instruction, then the words that we're given to be used are called meanings. When you reverse the sound meaning, that means in mean. Mean in mathematics is average. Average doesn't give you the precise destination of where you want to get to. So a word like sit, jump, run, you know what to do. My friend said that in ancient African language, we spoke verbs, we spoke doing words. We didn't really speak abstractions. So when you say the word black, it doesn't give you what you need to do. You have to find other words to make up. When you say the word love, it doesn't tell you exactly what to do. You see, so this is the problem that's stopping our ability to think clearly, because we've been given these words in mean, that to find the word it gives you another 5 words, and then you look at that word, it gives you another 5. It doesn't give you that specific breakdown of the word. I was going to give you an example here, but I'll just say it now. So the word fire extinguisher. How does extinguisher relate to the metal object that puts out the foam to out the fire? How does that equation equal that? So if you don't know, it's like you're deaf, dumb, and blind. You hear it just like a dog. You hear the sound, you know what the sound is, but you don't know how this formula equals that metal object. How it equals the object in relation to the word read. Read really means, when you look at the word read, it really means, means to go back. So the first sound in the word read is re, which means recall, remember, renew, rerun, replay. So inside the word read is the word re, which means to go back. Add means to move. Advance, or someone you like, you admire. When you want to get in a club, you get admitted to the club. So add means to move to the back. You see, so that we think that we're looking at the language and we know what we're learning, but the language still is written from right to left. You know, so inside the word extinguisher, you've got the word ER, and that ER carries out the action. So you've got the word run, runner. So the runner carries out.
You're muted.
Sorry. Okay.
So the last words of the word extinct, you've got the word inside the word extinguisher. Oh, I must be making some music. I don't know what's going on here.
1 minute. Sorry. Do you want my attention?
Hello, busy lady. Sorry about that. Yeah. So inside the word fire extinguisher, you got the word. The object is a tin. So if you look at the word fire extinguisher, you see the word tin inside it. Then you see inside of the word tin, you see the word X. X means something to leave. So like in the word exit. So the word fire extinguisher, you see the word X and you see the word tin. So something that leaves the tin is written in the word extinguisher. What leaves the tin? If you look at the other word in the word fire extinguisher, you've got the word gush, which makes the sound gush, as in water propelling out of something. So inside the word fire extinguisher, You've got water that gushes out of a tin, written in the word itself.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to go nowhere other than the word to find out what the word is.
Yeah.
But you go to a dictionary, and a dictionary will give you 5 or some long paragraph of something that is right in the word. And this is what they use in all the sciences and in the law, and in law, it's words of precise meaning. So you can't make a mistake if you get stopped by the police or if you're in a court. Every word has to be a precise. You can't make a mistake in medical, because if you say the wrong word, you're going to get the wrong prescription for you. So what they've done, they've given us words of average, so that we can't tap into or instruct ourselves, because words are commands. So if you're using commands that are vague or you can't extract information, that means you're not going to be moving how you're supposed to be moving.